Hello, and welcome to Sunday at the Circus. Again, we have an awesome guest, Godless Sewing, in the house.
Hello.
Let's see here. Loki's sitting here waiting. He's like, "It's time, human. I hear you talking to the camera. Can I have my snackies now?" All right, how's everybody's? Oh, Loki, don't knock my microphone over. Let's pull up the chat, pretend to be real streamers here. Okay. All right, Loki. How's your week been, Kat? You've had snacks and fun? Freya, Frufers. All right, Loki, you can have more snacks when your sister decides to get out of bed. She's not here yet. Oh, here comes the lady of the hour.
Here we go.
Where do you want your snackies? Have them on the floor over there. All right. Oh, what is happening? We are just trash. The circus tent is trash this afternoon. Can I have this back? Can I have that back? Loki says good snackies. Now get to stitching, you crazy lady.
All right.
That's it. All right, what do we have on? Go ahead, honey.
Oh, no, sorry. It takes me a second to set up. But I've been on this really weird hat making mission, and I've made a few. And I'm going to, in this stream, I'm going to finish this hat. Which
awesome.
They're actually coming out really nice.
But yeah, what did you decide to do for the interfacing to get the brim nice and firm?
I have to order some hat interfacing. It's coming to that because nowhere besides cheating and going to my my cowhide friend, there's no other way that I know to make a hat like that. And I don't know if I want to destroy a sewing machine over cowhide anyways.
Don't you have a handheld or a treadle that has the feed dog power?
That is true. I have quite a few.
You don't tell me you don't have the machine for that. Now I know you're just lying.
a long time ago, someone I know walked in with a jacket and they're like, "I need my jacket fixed," and you can't even lie to me because you're in a room of sewing machines.
Right.
And they were distressed. They're like, "I need it right now, please." I'm kind of like befuddled and beside myself because of my loss of all of my footage and everything, but I'm not letting that deter me. And I'm excited because I'm going off into a new realm. Like, I have made quite a few hats. My attempt, I'm going to stop calling them pork pies because a pork pie has an extreme bend, and so I'm kind of going for just the old school hat look in general. Let me get my latest fail.
Yeah, so I'll show off my latest fail / success. Is this 1906 gourd? No, we're upside down. Gourd riding corset. It's called Camille. I found it on the subreddit. They had a whole bunch of Ariana Black's patterns. I think this is my favorite one so far. But my metal eyelet press, in some of the places where the eyelets are supposed to go, has 4 layers of denim.
Oh, awesome.
It only likes 2, and I wasted a whole bunch of eyelets and was like, oh, that's the problem. So I'm not going to be able to tight lace this one, but I guess it's a riding corset, so who tight laces that? But yeah, we have to hand sew eyelets on one half, and then a second half, and then finish the top and bottom. And we will have a new corset.
Yay!
And then I get to make another one because I have enough of this oceany blue that I've got my split riding trousers to stitch up. So I was like, why not make another matching gourd corset? But I don't have any more busks, so I was going to put buttons on it instead. So it's all a hot mess around here.
That's my middle name.
Project.
Do you know I habitually put buttons on everything because I'm anti-zipper. It's not that I'm anti-zipper, it's the work that you have to put in to line. I'm really bad at lining up zippers.
My trick that I learned, my foolproof way is to sew the seam with a little bit extra seam allowance, and then line the zipper up and then slit the seam open.
I like that. I like that.
That worked for me every time because I was super afraid of zippers until I saw that method and I was like, oh, I can do that.
This is definitely giving off some 90s vibes right here.
It is, especially if you wear it with your coordinating outfit and be all matchy matchy.
I'm really hardcore on these fake Louis Vuitton prints right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm one of those people, like, I grew up in the era of, like, you'd get made fun of wearing Payless shoes.
Oh, those were all I had when I was younger. Not that
Same.
it's just because
Same.
I was cheap. My grandma taught me good. Kmart was too expensive sometimes.
I had like depression. Well, my dad was depression era. My mom was a baby boomer, so they saved. Well, they habitually saved money.
Yeah,
That's one thing I respect about the old schoolers. Like, they weren't about being flashy. Like, even someone I knew who grew up to be a hoarder. Like, I didn't even know half of their hoarding because they hid most of it.
no, my grandma was flashy. She just did it on frugally.
True.
That lady had an entire closet filled with shoes and two gigantic bureaus filled with sweaters and handmade outfits. She made everything. And I was just sad because we were just about the same size. I'm like a handful of inches taller than she was. So she was like super mini me. But
do you come from a long line of people that are all the exact same height?
I don't know because on one side of my family, they were all kind of short, but they were also Jews in Poland during the war, and I only have a limited sample size of them left that made it out to reference. And the other side, we're tall. Yes, but we were either super tall or super short.
Because like my father, his father was 6'7".
Oh my God, that's gigantic.
Every male child that my father had, we are all 5'9".
Oh, that's funny.
Every single one of us are the exact same height. But this was old timey. He had malaria as a child.
Yeah.
And he thinks that might be one of the reasons. But like, you could say anything in retrospect,
That's true. I mean, don't you think the chemicals of being on warships and stuff didn't have anything to do with it either, or the MREs?
That's another thing that people in the military never talk about, how they just walk up to you and they're like, okay, you're going to get 45 shots. And they give them to you.
Oh, yeah, that too. You're right. I wasn't even thinking about the medical stuff that they were like, yep, just give me your arm because you're going to take it, kid.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have a choice.
People like rarely. I think I've told you the story. Like, I was trying to shame somebody for like, I was just saying like, oh, waterboarding is terrible. And my brother, who was a Marine, he was like, I've been waterboarded.
Right, that was called our ritual hazing initiation. That was like called first aid.
And I looked at him and I'm like, that's not necessarily a good thing, dude. Like, people are hilarious. There's an author. Her name's Bell Hooks. A lot of people don't. I've read quite a few Bell Hooks. I own quite a few, but she used to always talk about how we're gonna have a generation of people that are commiserating over how horrible their parents treated them. And like, in a weird way, it's backfired because those people
That's called growing up. Like, we all did that.
But the people who were held accountable by their parents turned around and stopped disciplining their children 100%.
I think we're a little too far to the free wild.
Oh, you're skipping a little bit. Or maybe it's me.
No, it's me.
But my
I was trying to see what was going on.
But before I go down the rabbit hole of depressing stories, I went to the swap meet today.
Ooh.
Hey, Liz. Hey, how's it
Oh,
going?
hey, I was wondering, I was like, I see people here. Is it me or my chat? I was trying to toggle over to YouTube, but I can't wire this laptop in, so I'm have to stream Wi-Fi, which I know is not most ideal, but that's all we got.
There are people who just like to watch, you know, the professional.
Yeah,
I was a lurker for my first year and a half.
that's
And
true. I don't always love being in the chat. I like to listen and like hula hoop or do other things most of the time. The only time I'm engaged is my own stream and yours.
same. The only time I'm ever like really sitting at this chair is when I'm sewing or streaming. Because usually I'm like
Right.
dancing. I call it jumping jacks, but I love dancing. I don't know what it is. Like
Yep.
dancing, it's my thing.
Yes. You make me feel like dancing.
And it's a healthy habit. Like it's a good thing to get into, you know.
Yes.
I didn't even. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, please.
I was going to say, any way of getting up and moving is a good way of getting up and moving. Just get up and move.
Totally. I think because like my grandparents were health freaks in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So I always had that example of like, no, you're supposed to walk a mile and whenever you can. Like you're supposed to. My grandparents would wake up and walk 2 miles every day. They were famous in my town for that.
Yeah, my grandma did too. Not she also for health, but they on that side they never learned how to drive. So either somebody took them places, they took the bus, or they walked.
Yep. You know,
I was just going to check in on Liz. Hey, had to get rent money order before work. Exciting adulthood. Oh, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you. Enjoy your new job with the better perks. Hopefully all of the benefits are good and you are safer and we have to worry about you less.
you have no idea because of like, and I always was before, but I am so nice to security guards because I know that they're you know, they're just doing their job. And I hate it when people say that. I really hate it when people say that, but sometimes it fits. Like some people really are just doing their job.
Right.
So let me plug in my sewing machine. That would help.
Okay, right. I'm like, I have to rethread mine. Why are we fighting today, Brunhilde? Oh, okay, we'll start at the beginning.
But I got a Sinaloa patch because I love the look on people's faces when they're like, oh, you've lived here and here and here. And I say, yeah, I lived in Sinaloa, which is one of the most dangerous places on earth. I noticed nothing and had the time of my life.
I see nothing, hear nothing, know nothing.
It's a weird place where you literally like you're sitting outside eating your breakfast and a toucan flies by. Like Mexico's beautiful, and a lot of people don't talk about that because it's a dangerous place, you know.
Yeah.
But I live in LA. LA is just as dangerous.
Right? Is it really any different other than I don't know.
And then I thought it was a I can't even say the word. I thought it was a Diablo patch, but it's a I cannot say it because English was my first language, so I do not necessarily roll my tongue.
Yeah, I can't roll my R's either. That Spanish was super hard for me in that way.
So for a Spanish speaker, you have to have patience with my Spanish.
They're like, "Are you sure you're not a gringo?"
It's a Diablita patch. And like I didn't care. Honestly, I don't care that he grabbed the woman devil patch, but I love it. It's a tiny patch I'm gonna put on one of my vests, but it's from the Brujeria, the lottery cards that they have.
Fun.
And okay. So I wear a cowboy hat all the time. And I'm on this weird quest to wear like I'm just gonna grab it. I wanted a camouflage hat. And I finally found one that was like more up my tree because a lot of them are super right wing.
Yeah. Awesome, Liz. Enjoy being at the senior care home instead. Oh, Liz does. I'm sure you're always pleasant. You've been nothing but kind to me on Godless's channel and my own channel. Everybody who actually, I should shout out. Thanks everybody who showed up in the replay crew. Thanks to all the 2 new folks. I now have more followers on YouTube than I do on Rumble, but go watch Rumble too because they're cool. And
Awesome.
I'll pin Godless's channel in the. I don't know how to pin comments, but we'll make sure all the stuff's in the description so I can be a better social media nobody.
When you learn, let me know because I don't know how to do that either.
All right, I'll figure it out for the both of us.
I used to stream with somebody who was extremely considerate, and like they would tag me and anyone who jumped in their stream, and the Herculean task it takes. Like I don't have that much time on my hands. Their descriptions were just paragraphs, you know?
Yeah, I just have a document that for most of the things that I know I want to always include like my links and the software I use in my camera and mic because I'm a creep who likes to know what other people use. I just copy and paste it so I don't rewrite it every time. I'm lazy.
So I got this this camouflage hat. It fits my style.
Awesome.
So I'm gonna wear this, and I see like I try to gear him away from like what I call basically sweatshop stuff.
Yeah. But sometimes you can't help it. So let's see what the little hints out.
I got 2 of these knit caps for $5. Imagine.
Charlie, I thought it said Coke. I'm like so into that. I see that white and red, and I'm like, that's Coca-Cola.
Well, he got this really patriotic one, and like my son knows me well. Like anything that says California on it, I'll take it. But one of the reasons I like I didn't know when I moved to Oregon, I realized that people hated Californians.
Yes, because the rich people buy up all the cheap stuff, make everything expensive, and then don't respect us folks.
There's a saying in California that like $20 in California is $45 in Oregon.
Yes.
So like if you like what we're crazy because we pay high prices for anything. So like when I moved to Oregon, I was like, I can afford to live in an apartment by myself.
Right, and aren't driven by sales tax except for unless you live in a city with like a county with the restaurant or prepared food taxes. Like,
I'm gonna show off more stuff tomorrow, but I also finally got those patches that came straight from China.
Awesome! Yeah, the Chinese patches have arrived.
I put one on the back of my coveralls. Thank you, Liz. I put one on the back of my coveralls, and I love it already. I thought I was, again, because they're so cheap, I thought they were stickers.
Right.
Because there's one time I thought I was buying something and I bought a vinyl sticker because I didn't look.
Oh, the same way how you got the mini cutting board instead of like you can see it a full size 36 by 24-inch cutting mats, so you don't stop ruining your rotary. That's the word.
You know, it's so funny. That's the next thing. Like even today, that was the whole reason we went out shopping, and Isaiah and I went out and bought a ton of useless stuff. But
I just went out for a cutting mat.
Well, I'm gonna clear this table because the whole reason I brought this desk home was because I can cut on it. I have a cutting mat the size of this table. This was my sewing table, but I've allowed my computers to grow on it. And then like the computer shows up, then crazy cat lady shows up, then all my sewing, like I have probably 15 to 20 pairs of scissors underneath this computer. I'm insane. I have like all the sewing stuff I'm using right now because when I showed you on my live stream, like I didn't do it justice. That is 5.5 feet of toolboxes filled with thread.
Wow. I just have a drawer this deep and this wide that's mostly got industrial size spools in it and my embroidery machine floss.
I
Oh
like
now I have
measure.
floss envy.
And my fabric is just, it's out of control. And I'm at this weird, like, I've been spring cleaning since last November. So I'm, no, because I'm a hoarder, but like the more and more I watch people, there's this woman I watch named Sewing by Pam. I love her channel. I love watching her. She showed her house. I felt like it was an intervention. You know,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. I'm at least I don't have to put sheets up to hide my stuff. And I like her, but
Yeah.
because I always wondered why she had sheets up. Because you could see the lights behind the sheets, and then she showed why.
Oh.
Like she should be on an episode.
Well, I have to be careful because I mean, I sew, I knit, I spin, I do other. Those are the main things. But fortunately, I have a drop spindle. I don't have a spinning wheel, so But yeah, I have stuff. What is going on?
All right, let's see how loud this thing is. I might mute myself.
All right.
I never realized how loud my sewing machine was, but it's like literally right next to the microphone.
You're fair. I know that's. Oh, Brunhilde, why are you causing me troubles right now? And I'm just fighting this, trying to thread Brunhilde because we're having a time with it right now. But I'm going to sew these initial seams up and then sew eyelets because I will be a good sewist and press my seams open and cut because we'll do flat felt seams. I like the look of them.
I'm so mad. Do you know that like in my last video, I went back and I put all my stuff in from like a year ago when I was just 2 years ago and I was just doty-eyed kid, didn't realize how hate-filled YouTube was. And like I hope I didn't lose that footage. I'm attempting to recover it, but it's not going well.
Oh. Well, if you put it up in a video, then you have it on YouTube. You just have to download it and chop it up again. Or if you've been saving up space on your stinking StreamYard, if you edit in there, then you have it there also.
I just recently erased a bunch and stupidly purchased more space.
I just erased all my stuff because Wave keeps charging me like 70 cents for storage. I'm like, I have an external hard drive. It's on YouTube. It's on Rumble. I don't need it here also, so you can go. So I've been trying to be good after every stream, delete the one I did.
And the YouTuber that I learned from, she originally would she'd make a video and erase everything.
Yeah.
You know, every time. And I just was like, no, I'm a crazy person who wants to have one giant 5 terabit file.
Yeah, seriously. Like privated her live streams or just got rid of all her content from the stream?
Like anything that she would use in a pre-recorded video, she would purge it off her computer.
I would take it off my computer hard drive, but I would save it to my external because
that's what I started doing. But this is a conglomerate. It's an Apple problem. It's also a me problem, and like I'm this close on bringing my computer to the tech person at my job on Monday and being like, save my channel.
Help me.
But like I said, like I started from scratch a bunch, and like I don't know. I know people hate when people say this, especially in certain communities, but I'm a pick myself up by my bootstraps kind of person. When there's a
Yep.
problem, you got to knuckle up and deal with it. Crying doesn't help anything.
No, it doesn't. Usually I'm just too stubborn that I want to try to fix it myself, and I forget that sometimes it's all right to ask for help or to consult folks who know better than I do rather than pound my
That-
head against the wall for a few hours.
That's like literally my problem. Like
Oh,
you
I'm
just
like, I can do it. I don't need your help.
I think that's another thing because I grew up as just around people who always help themselves.
Yeah.
Like not once did I ever see my father call like a guy to come work on anything.
Yeah, but he also had an impressive skill set, though. I
He
mean,
was an electrical engineer and worked for NASA, Boeing.
so
Like it's so
yeah, I mean, I think
I
that
do,
makes a difference in your confidence and your skill. You're like,
bro.
I could blow up a bomb on my day job. Blowing up the house, yeah, that's not so scary to me.
True, a dishwasher that isn't scary. That's true.
No, it's all in perspective.
And like, oh man, I found a bunch of patents for do you know he invented like weird screws and stuff that are in satellites to this very day? It's weird when
Yeah,
you go through someone's paperwork.
right. And to be the patent owner, you're like, sorry, my family owns that, not yours.
The only way I can retrieve it is if it like crash lands in my front lawn.
There, yeah, NASA probably owns the rest of the intellectual property for it.
In the legalese, like he is the inventor, but NASA or Boeing or the United States military is the owner of the product.
Right, yeah.
Like his name's on it, but it'll flat out say like product of the United States military or blah blah blah, you know.
Yep.
Because the industrial and military complex, like if you get involved with them, they will take everything.
Yep.
Especially
Yes.
when it comes to technology.
Oh, for sure. Right. They're like, ooh, you did this while we paid you a salary? Yoink.
And I'm about to say something, and I didn't get this from anyone in the military. I read it from a Dan Brown book, but I asked I eventually asked somebody, and they were like, yeah, but the military is like 50 years ahead, at least back then.
Yeah.
They're like 50 years ahead. And like, I won't rat on them too hard, but I know someone who admitted to like there was all kinds of stuff on their ship that wasn't released until the 1970s or 80s. That they served in the 50s and 60s, and a lot of stuff on the ship is stuff that we use nowadays.
That's not surprising. I mean, when I was in the research lab, research science is at least 10 years ahead of common knowledge at the universities and like 20 years behind mainstream medicine.
Totally.
Which is why CRISPR's terrifying.
You know, it scares me more, not that the technology's out there, it's whose hands is this technology in?
Right.
And what are they gonna do? Do you know, again, in the end of the 1950s, we took laser technology, okay? We gave it to the Japanese, and Americans tried to invent weapons. The Japanese invented the CD player.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with the same technology, they used it for good.
Yeah.
And we don't have laser weapons.
Not that we know about.
You know,
it's all hanging out with the UFO data that they won't release either. Or no, they are having to because all the pilots are like, yeah, you can't throw us under the bus anymore. This happened.
And the Navy released a ton of UFO footage where they're like out in the middle of the ocean and we're like, okay, we legitimately do not know what this is.
Yeah. Have you seen one?
Okay, so I have a scale. Okay. Yes, but because I'm such a skeptical human, I've seen more than one, but only one completely sober.
Okay.
And that's my scale. Like, and I'm talking about like, like
one to
preacher.
one to seeing satellites, even if I
Yeah. There was one time a friend of mine, every Friday night after work, we would go. We had an apartment, and him and I, we would go and sleep on the beach at Santa Monica because in LA it's always 70 degrees,
right.
at least during the summer. And one night we were chilling, we were hanging out, and both of us. And that's another thing. I had a witness to this too.
Yep.
Because I did a lot of peyote, acid, and mushrooms in my teenage years, and so I've learned, like, if you're on acid, you're not a credible witness.
No, definitely. Yeah, right. I think that's the same even if you're on Latuda. Never mind. There's some other medications where I'm like, yeah, no.
Like I was big on mushrooms. You're not a credible witness if you're on mushrooms. I'm sorry. Like, especially anyways. We were sitting on the lifeguard tower, which stereotypically, if you've ever seen Baywatch, they all look alike. We're sitting on the lifeguard tower, and out of the sky, we saw this bright blue and green streak. And okay, so when a meteor hits the atmosphere, it burns a certain color that's based on the metal. So nickel pyrite is purple. There's a list. I'll look it up in a minute. But the reason I didn't think it was an asteroid was because when it hit the water, it maintained the same speed and it lit the ocean up so much that we saw the shelf. We saw it, and like to see the ocean shelf in LA where there's nothing but light pollution is unheard of. Yeah. And so whatever went under it, because the shelf is about 10 miles out, it lit up the entire ocean. It was like 2 a.m.
Yeah, I was just hearing about ones that were coming from the ground. Liz said, but I'll get back to my story. Liz says, your dad had a fascinating life. I would totally read his bio if ever published.
We used to call him the Black Forrest Gump. He was crazy. Yeah.
Thanks, Liz. Yeah, I saw one. I was at a party up in, where were we? In Everett, up in Washington State. And there was 3 of us and we were outside and it was this orb that just hovered oddly and then moved very unusually and quickly, that in a way that was just not real on this planet.
Do you know in the Muslim religion, especially the NOI, the Nation of Islam, they will tell you that black people are piloting those ships.
Sure, go for it.
I've gotten in arguments with guys. I'm like, how do you know that? Have you seen those people? Like, show me their calling card first, then I might believe you.
Right. How do you know they're not green or purple or polka dotted or striped or plaid?
I read a long time ago in Scientific American, like, it's arrogant to think that aliens are going to be bipedal.
Fear, why wouldn't they be like blobs or octopi or something like more fun?
And you would have to be the sum total of the elements from your planet because that's what we are.
Right.
Nothing that we have, we make something of something else and something else of something else. We didn't just pop up out of thin air,
Right, maybe they're silicate and like weird glass, spiky, spiny thingies.
Yeah, what if they like inhale oxygen and exhale cyanide?
It's a good thing they stay on our ships then, because we'd be dead.
I think like Scientific American, when I was a kid, they kind of addressed that. They were like, what would planet be like on alien lives, on alien planets?
Yeah.
I love thinking about that because Star Trek and like sci-fi in general has ruined us because, oh, I did miss that. Okay, I won't cut that piece.
Right. Yeah, they've given us a way to think. That's why the author that we're reading now, is it Dan Wheeler? The high fantasy stuff also has some graphic novels, and we were like, I'm not ready to disrupt our vision of what these characters look like by having someone else's illustrations.
I like this one.
That one is fun. Liz, Liz has seen a few UFOs, but always approach the experience with a healthy dose of skepticism. I'd like to think they're real. I think fair, yeah, with lots of laughing and alien and starry-eyed, happy-eyed emojis. Oh, laughing, crying. She's got the whole library of emotions, emojis. Wow.
Oh, we go off with emojis. It shows our age. Do you know? Neil deGrasse Tyson kind of said it the best, though. Like, I don't want to meet the Roswell aliens because they traveled billions of miles to crash.
Right? What happened?
Garbage. They're garbage aliens. Like, I want to meet.
I want the better aliens, not you losers who can crash your ship. Let's get the good ones here.
No, because that shows how fragile life is. It shows that, like, no matter what, life is fragile, even if it's from a different planet, you know?
Yeah. It's true.
Marvel has ruined the whole UFO thing with the whole interdimensional thing nowadays, because now it's like people think that there's a million different versions of yourself, which there very well could be, but you're not living it. You're living the one version of yourself, you know?
Yeah. I'm not a huge graphic novel person, so I don't know. Not my thing most of the time.
I completely forgot. So, have you ever heard of the football player named Ricky Williams?
Probably no, because I don't like football either. I'm lame.
So, like, Ricky Williams was he was one of the first people to openly be shamed for smoking marijuana in the NFL.
Oh wow, times have changed.
Exactly. Do you know in all those leagues they can smoke now? And the NBA was notorious for like not testing for pot because they wouldn't have anybody in the league.
Right.
But especially the Portland players. But Portland has great pot. Ricky Williams. He was just
it comes from down south.
He kind of is like, in a weird way, he's kind of like me, but with more money because he was rich and famous. He like got peyote shot up his nose. He wears crazy Southwestern prints. He's this big giant dude with he cut his dreads off, but like he kind of floated around the league because no one wanted to deal with the stigma of a pothead. And so today at the SWAT meet,
let's see.
I purchased and the funny thing is, it's a Cowboys jersey too, and like. I purchased a Ricky Williams Cowboys jersey today. And one of the really lame things is that when I was a kid, I couldn't afford these jerseys. I always wanted this jersey with a star on it.
Oh, right, because that was special.
Well, now it's like, of course, I had to look it up in the gang index. And like, if I wore this on the other side of the hill, I could get shot.
Oh, no, oops.
LA is so lame. But yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that because that just smells like scabies. And I've said that when I was like itching for content in my early videos, I would always show my thrift store or swap meet hauls, and I would be like, wash everything.
Right, extra hot water, maybe a little bleach, or something to sterilize it.
Oh yeah, oh big time. And I went really old school. Because I found my guy. There's, he is so. Have you ever been around over affectionate humans?
Oh, yes.
Rubbers?
Isn't it called growing up in the 90s?
Oh, yes. I'm having to line up for that one aunt who gives a sloppy kiss. Yuck. I haven't been around the swap meet in a while. Between COVID and everything else, I used to go all the time. And the guy reminded me, he's like, you haven't been here in a while. And I was like, I have. But I would show up like, in the past 3 years, I show up every once in a while, okay? And sometimes I don't go to his booth because I always end up buying something off of him. So, long story short, I was obsessed with work shirts that have names on them. All the emojis forever, damn right.
No, we're not. We're young at heart, which is all that matters.
So, I'm obsessed with work shirts. And a long time ago, I had an inspector basically tell me that I couldn't wear a work shirt with someone else's name on it. And so that's what inspired a lot of like the Godless Sewing channel, like because I would dress up work shirts because they couldn't stop
Yep.
me from anyways. So I bought a Tony shirt. And the funny thing is when you walk around with a name tag of that's not yours, people legitimately will be like, hey Tony, that's your name. It's on your shirt. And I always say, no, it's my shirt's name.
I'm so bougie, my clothes have names.
But I live in work shirts, you know, so I might as well make them something I actually want to wear.
Yep.
Because I literally live in those things, you know, because I'm always at work or like when the weather gets a little bit better, there's a million improvements I have to do on my house. Because do you know it's so embarrassing? They declared a state of emergency for the people in the hills by my house because they can't get them out of the
snow.
Yeah, because no one owns a snowplow. And you would figure somewhere around here there would be a big enough snowplow, but they can't even get it up the mountain.
Yeah, mountain roads are on the West Coast are not the same as like the ski hills on the East Coast. It's not the same.
Oh,
They're windy and not necessarily paved, and
it's a total mess here. It's embarrassing. Like it's embarrassing. Because
yeah, I mean, I think our county has got like 3 snowplows, but we're right on the 5.
So am I. We live on this. I like literally, if I opened my garage door, you could hear it. That's how close I live to the 5. To the point that people like, it's actually kind of cool because my mailing address, I'm the first one to get my mail. And like I'm next to the like I'm close to the Amazon warehouse. So like my stuff's always it comes either early in the morning or like, you know, right before they're going home.
Right.
I probably told you this, but did you know that the 5 goes from Guatemala to Alaska?
Yep.
I attempted to take that, but Canada is really a distracting place.
For lots of reasons. But yes. Oh, I just have to say real quick, it literally pains me to have to clip out where I punched this thinking I was going to have the metal eyelets in here. I'm like, if I'd known, I would have used my awl and pressed through the eyelets to not cut it like this.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm like, this is the first copy. It's okay. It's the best sewn, but it's just the first, so it's still a wearable mock-up and not the most nicest one you'll ever make. But it hurts me.
That's one of the reasons, like, there are certain mistakes. There's a coat sitting in the closet right now where I sewed the arm onto the coat, and I was like, I quit because I wasn't paying attention. And I hung it up, and it's this sad coat with one arm sewn to the.
Well, you should just make a vest out. Just rip the arm off and make a vest. The clothes that got banished to the bad kid pile is so real, though.
It is.
Like, sorry, I can't deal with you. Go think about your mistakes over there.
There was a NoFX patch I messed up on 15 years ago that I didn't fix up until 2020.
Sometimes it takes time for them to think about their mistake. Oh, Liz misses swap meets. She misses work shirts. Hey, Raul.
Oh, I forgot about Raul. Raul got the most reaction, even more than when I put Jesus upside down on a t-shirt, people physically tried to fight me. Quite a few. And then the worst was like this giant Hispanic gangster dude. I was at the Goodwill, of course. And I'm so reactionary. I should have got that coat. But I had a coat in my hand and I was gonna buy it. And he's like, you seriously have Jesus upside down? I threw the coat. I was like, all right, dude, I'm tired of you people getting mad at my clothes.
I know, Liz, this is so funny. Oh no, poor people in California, there's snow.
The yuppies.
The city dwellers don't know how to deal with it. They do have mountains and like real snow in Tahoe and places, so they're not all morons. Just most of them.
Exactly. I was just about to say, like, and you have to be really rich to live in the mountains of California anyway. So these people, they're rich. They'll survive.
Right.
They
They
can
get
miss
to
a
keep
day.
their gas generators.
Oh gosh. Don't even get me started on that.
No, I read the law. It's this you can't buy new ones, so you don't have to get rid of the ones you have. It's just if you think you might need more, you should stock up.
Okay, but what's gonna happen when they stop selling gas?
They can't stop selling gas. All the truckers are on diesel, but
And
I
now
don't.
they're like, they are trying to sell me electric trucks, no matter what commercial, no matter what I'm on my television, they're pushing electric vehicles in California.
Yeah, that's just dumb because it's just changing the energy source. And what about these poor people who, like, if you live in an apartment, is Section 8 housing in California gonna upgrade the electrics in all of their buildings so that everybody can plug in their car?
That is such a good question. That is such a good question.
Because the
Because
houses are those Section 8 houses are probably not rated for that much electrical draw.
in the state of California is evil because a long time ago, this man I know attempted to make tiny homes and give them to homeless people just randomly on the streets of LA. This city confiscated them and put my father on the news and tried to shame him for helping homeless people.
Oh God.
So the county's crazy. They're crazy. Like they care more about material than people.
Yeah, it's all like it's just like virtue signaling of look at what we can do, not what we are actually doing.
Oh yeah, there was an army of people who went and were like, okay, there's a problem. We're gonna start housing the homeless. Like we took all the old scrap wood and built houses and everything, and they were nice. And we put them on wheels, and like 2 weeks later, it was on the news. They took all of it, and it wasn't just like my pops. It was an army of people who built houses.
Yeah,
for the homeless. But we later found out it's because they had privatized contracts, and now we have tiny homes everywhere. But it's because everything's run like the mafia. They had to hire a company, like it's
right,
bureaucracy.
it's right. Yeah, the whole government contract racket is a whole other deal. I know. Well, now Oregon wants to give every low income and homeless person $1,000 a month.
Did you're the one that told me that California was trying to give reparations? Do you know
$5 million. How do you prove that? I'm like, where are you guys getting the money from? And how do I sign up? But I've not been here long enough, so I'm not eligible, nor is my skin color appropriate. But
hey, take a DNA test. You never know. My mom.
I know when my family moved here, and
Well, my mom is. Well, it's because of my mom. Like they come from Basque people, but like, when we got a real blood drawn, real DNA test, and on her map, her family there was a black man that came to Spain that started, thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. But my mom, she's European. My mom, think of the palest person they're darker than my mother.
Are you all right, Whitey?
She's allergic to the sun. She's one of those people, so she wears big hats and hides from the sun.
Yep, me too. We're part vampire. It's okay.
I'm the exact opposite. Like I said, I'm a photo cell. Put me in the sun, and like my magic ring activates.
No, I like to be warm, but I go from paper white to lobster red in a matter of 5 minutes flat, and
that's so weird to me. Like I'm a sun person. I wear sunscreen. I wear big hats. I wear proper. But I love the sun. Says the guy.
I like it. My skin doesn't, though.
Now I'm in this weird project. Yeah, I have to start over.
That's okay, because maybe we should start. We were joking about this. But are you gonna participate in the So Frugal for March? And what are you gonna do? What are your plans?
I completely forgot about that. I watch a YouTuber who was talking about that, and I miss it every year, and I think I should do it this year.
Yeah, it's March. You have to shop from your stash, and it needs to either be a free pattern or something that you self-drafted. So it's pretty. You meet all their. You can do those things.
Oh, instantly.
Like I could do that tonight. This will be my first video on my upgraded channel.
And Isaiah, like my son is he's such a suburban. He asked me for a credit card and a 3D printer.
Okay, kid, you've got expensive tastes.
I was like, my first, I'm an inquisitive human, so I'm like, okay, let's go down this road. Like, I'll go on this ride. I was like, why? Why do you need a credit card? And he said,
right, yeah, that's the first question.
Because here's the problem. Because of the modern digital era, he doesn't see the anger and the pain, just the regret of paying bills. He doesn't see that. When my father was sitting at the table with a calculator and all the bills, you left him alone. Like you stay.
That's me when I'm knitting and drop a stitch. I'm like, don't talk to me.
Same. No, I'm the same on a big project. I'm like, this is way bigger than I bit off way more than I could chew. So he doesn't see me being like, oh man, I regret that trip. Like I regret going to the store that day. Like, why? I'm so stupid. Why did I buy this? I need to cancel this subscription. Like, he doesn't see that. So
yeah.
He thinks having a credit card is all rainbows and handshakes, and it's not.
Right.
And
no,
so
it's the opposite of that.
I told him, I'm like, every time when we spend money on the credit card, it comes directly out of my bank account.
Yep.
And the only reason I use the credit card is because I don't have that much money on me at the time. Because I'm a cash person, and I regulate myself to a certain amount of money. And if I can't afford what I'm looking for, then maybe I shouldn't be doing it in the first place.
That's a good lesson.
And I'm talking about like being a sewing machine crazy person. I'll put $40 in my wallet and be like, okay, this is what I'm going to spend. Like, at my thrift store. Like, I'm not going to go crazy because I could easily just swipe the stupid credit card.
Mm-hmm.
So I have. Sorry.
I mean, there's the debit cards that you can set a limit. So he's got to like do his chores. And if he has an allowance or whatever, so he can start to learn some of those skills.
He wants a $5,000, what are those things called? Oh, I can't remember because I total do. We're sorry. God, the sewing is not home right now.
Call back later.
And when he remembers what the hell he was gonna say.
A $5,000 3D printer?
Yes.
Okay.
Because he wants to manufacture crazy stuff.
Well, isn't there cheaper ones where he can start to cut his teeth on?
He watches tutorials of YouTubers who don't tell you that they had inheritance.
The trust fund kids. He doesn't understand what it's like to not have endless amounts of cash to blow stupidly.
When you're 25 and you own a giant ranch, and he watches this one guy and I'm like, oh, he inherited that from his family. He watches this other guy. I'm like, oh, he inherited that from his family. Like, generational wealth is a real thing. And you know what? I participate in it too. It takes one to spot one. Like I would be here. No, I would not be here if it wasn't for my parents. Mm-hmm. They helped me out in every stupid business venture, but my parents are different because they made me work for it.
Right.
Hey,
good afternoon, Skids. Good to see you've got a non-shilling not YouTube, not Instagram, Twatter again.
Skids has inspired me I used to always post on Twitter, but ever since Elon took over, it has killed my Twitter. But I had to put a cat meme because I have a ton of cat memes in my phone.
Those are my favorite ones. I just go to the internet for my self-sewing and cats.
I miss like I miss old school Facebook. At least my old school Facebook was nothing but cat pictures, family photos, and sewing machines.
That sounds like a good time.
At least back in the day. Now it's like you're the I have an ex-girlfriend who's constantly trying to sell me whatever like MLM scheme she's on.
I know. Oh, that, and when people come to me with these things that are all proprietary ingredients, I'm like, I can't validate this that some chiropractor from Timbuktu tried to sell you because it doesn't actually tell me all that's in there.
Literally from Timbuktu. Like literally.
Exactly. Wearing that hat. Oh, I didn't have a MySpace. I was just old enough and young enough that
MySpace was like the beginning of the end. That was like the beginning of the end. Facebook was so bad. Do you know every ex-girlfriend I've ever had, every person that I went to elementary school with, every one of my friends' moms, my mother, my uncle are all on my Facebook.
Yeah, I go to Facebook for to check up on a few people who don't have other social medias, and mostly I'm like, get me out of here. I've got other social medias I control.
I made a ton of money selling sewing machines on Facebook, and like, so the greedy Scrooge McDuck in me has to go check every once in a while, you know?
Right, to see what your competition selling on their Facebook marketplace.
Well, the funny thing is someone complained that my sewing machine smelled like weed and more people started buying my stuff.
It comes pre-scented. This one's got character.
You know, it's one of those things, like, I didn't realize how much everything smelled like smoke until when I quit smoking cigarettes. My ex-wife smoked cigarettes. So when my son comes back, I could smell him in the door jam. You know? But I didn't realize because I smoked cigarettes for so long. And I asked her one day, I was like, do I smell like pot? And she looked at me and she's like, that's your blood type, bro. Like you that's
AB Mary J.
Yeah. I had no idea. You know, I had no idea. So I warned people like pot's legal. I'm a feral human being. This is gonna smell like marijuana. Like, right. Sorry.
That's all right. I'm not deterred.
But I'll give it to you for a good price.
I know. I'm like, I don't care. I still want that electric white rotary when she's ready.
Oh, you know what? Honestly,
but I should stop joking about that. I'm sorry.
No, I'll probably give it to you. It needs a little love, though. It needs a new rubber. I replaced the rubber, and it's still it just needs a little love. But the sad thing is, it's a part of it's my desk now. So this thing will reek of pot when you do get it.
We'll figure it out. We'll have to do a tandem live stream from the house so that you can show me how to keep her happy.
Exactly.
We'll chill on all the stations.
Sewing machines, and that's another thing. Like, I'm gonna get back to tooling around with my old sewing machines because I have some of the greatest sewing machines that were ever invented. You know,
and there's not enough really the videos I've seen of how to take care of some of them. There's at least 8 years old. The video's not good. The audio's not good. They're kind of funny. And I think we need more creators to update this stuff. Oh no, Skits, you've been sick. I'm sorry. I hope that the panini treats you nicely. Liz loves the sun. Bad thing in PDX at work now. All right, stay safe, honey.
I think we should call this. I call it this C word, Voldemort, the disease that shall not be named.
It feels that way. I know. It's so lame on YouTube how you have to like self-censor stuff, which is why I'm trying to also grow my Rumble channel where you can like say words and not have to be euphemistic about stuff.
as having a child really helped me because I was a potty mouth. A real life mother trucker, like, oh god f, like all the time. All the time, to the point where someone was like, man, you better hope God isn't real. Because I would say GD all the time. It was just a reflex. And
Yeah.
as an atheist, it's just something I say. I'm not damning anybody. I'm not like, I'm just like, damn it, damn it, damn it. But I had to stop talking like that around my child because I don't think it's funny when kids curse. And so, like, we are the example. So I changed my language. But YouTube is awful
Yep.
because you can't say, like, I'll say the H word because you can't say the H word. I'll say the
The
N
H
word.
double hockey stack
Yeah.
stone?
You have to pick. Like, I'll say the N word, and someone will say, which one?
Right. The one that ends in A or the one that ends in I?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I've had to completely change my language
Yeah,
because of.
it's really kind of dumb. And I think for some stations, it really, when you're like some of the commentary news stations that are talking about really serious matters, when they have to talk about like the playground lurkers or the child prawn people, like that just degrades the like seriousness of the content that they're trying to get across.
Oh yeah. Back in the day, they'd be like, "Hey, we saw this chomo over here. If you see them, call the cops and feel free to punch them a few times." Skits, I hope you feel better. I really
Yeah,
hope
me
you feel better.
too. Oh, the plethora of symptoms. I am sorry if I didn't do my disclaimers. No medical, legal, financial, election fornication advice on this station. But if people who kind of know anything about me have specific questions, you may be able to slide into my DMs and I may give you an honest answer.
We
Okay.
could read the article about long COVID and effects on the brain, but this is a person's opinion, you know.
Yeah, I can listen to my teachers too. Or we could talk about something fun. Who watched the Arnold Strongman competition this weekend?
I Where is my
Oh,
phone?
good.
Where is my phone? Because I'm gonna pull that up right now.
It was a great competition. Oh my god, I loved that they had the ladies and the chaps. And I'm sorry to the folks who were, I guess, in the Rogue live stream. People were nasty to the ladies because, for those of you who may or may not know, strong men and women is not a drug tested sport. So people take full advantage of all the tools that they have available to them. And people were saying nasty things about some of the ladies, and that is unfortunate because they lifted a 500-pound timber carry, more than half of them under 8 seconds up an incline. It was amazing. The best comp yet.
See, and the average person and all those people talking trash couldn't do that.
No! They couldn't even barely lift a 250-pound timber carry up an incline. It just...
YouTube is so awful. Like, one thing that I have grown, like, because I'm flipping through the videos right now, and it's people just talking trash about the way people look. I am so tired of people like trashing each other. It trips me out. It really trips me out how obsessed people are with how other people look. Like, I don't care.
Oh, shit, sorry from Liz. Social distance hugs. Yes. Thank goodness for the infowebs and parasocial relationships. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, it's okay. I'm not looking. I see. Maybe because I'm weird, I could date a woman that was a bodybuilder. She'd be like, I'd be like, hey, open this pickle jar for me, please. Like, I have no problem whatsoever.
Right. It's just during like peak week when they're like cut to the brim and angry because they're hangry all the time. They might have some other thoughts, but outside of that, like impeccable work ethic, impeccable routine and diligence to structure, and huge aspirations for goal setting. Like, isn't that what we should all try to aspire to be, have to. Oh no, there was shock and awe just happened.
I'm sorry. I just saw a picture of Eugenia Cooney from 11 days ago.
Oh God, that's another human who I
Phone
cannot
down.
believe she's
Down.
one virus away from dying.
I'm skinny, so when I see extremely thin people like that, like, oh, how does your body function properly?
It doesn't.
Like,
Has starvation brain because you can't. No, she recovered and is in the throes of her sickness again, and either her family, her parents, her brother, weird creepos are capitalizing it, and it's really sad and unfortunate because she's not long for this.
yes, this is why you need someone who's angry like me in her life, because I would be like, okay, you need to get off of YouTube. You need to take a year, like take 3 years off.
Yeah.
Let's go, go to Betty Ford.
Right, yeah, go to the island, find some healing and peace. And behavioral therapy, what is wrong? What happened in her life, or what lack of control doesn't she have in her other areas that she's using food or lack thereof to have impeccable control?
And you hit the nail on the head, because it is a control issue, because we are sovereign over our, well, not all of us, but like, when you realize you're sovereign over your body, you could really hurt or help yourself,
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's the same thing with like toddlers who have one bad pooping experience and they're like, I don't have any control, but I will control whether I poop or not and make myself constipated, and then like cry and scream for the next 3 days because it hurts and I don't want to do it again. That was a bad analogy. Actually, it wasn't a bad analogy.
No,
it is. It's what happens.
Humans are crazy. Like, we're crazy. We are.
Yep.
I say this all the time. It's amazing that we got this far.
I know. I think that's why the aliens didn't stay there. Like, they look at us and they're like, let's let them evolve for a few more thousand years, and either they're going to be fun or they're going to kill themselves.
That is so sad. I'm watching some of the footage now, but Eugenia Cooney makes me want to cry. I respect anyone who I couldn't do half of these things. I couldn't do any of this. I have, how do you feel about anabolic steroids?
That's a complicated, I will give you a complicated answer to a complicated question. I think if you are it depends on the context. If you're using it to improve your performance at the gym or in sport, if you haven't fully exploited nutrition, a strict workout protocol, sleep hygiene, then you are wasting your time, because you're still going to look shitty and have man chesticles that you didn't want, gynecomastia possibly, because you're a weird responder. If you're an adult male who's using it because you have low testosterone because you've gone through andropause, that can be a reasonable medical reason to do it. If you're under the age of 18, I don't think you should be doing any of those performance enhancing substances, because you've not at all exploited your full genetic potential and you're just young and dumb.
I agree with you. I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for steroids, but I'm a born asthmatic who literally uses 60 to 70% of his lungs and smoked cigarettes for 20 years like an idiot.
and that's completely different. I mean, I think, and there's a difference between anabolic steroids and the steroids that you were using, prednisone and prednisolone. For the corticosteroids are not the same as the anabolic steroids. They have the same chemical backbone, but they function differently. So I can't, that's separate drugs.
When I was younger, my parents, they basically forced me to play football.
Wow, usually most families are like, please don't play football.
Well, I got kicked off the baseball team because the coach said I was too aggressive. But that man, it was code. That's code for people of color. But that guy,
they thought you were too black to play hockey.
No, this was baseball. He's in federal prison because he extorted hundreds of thousands of dollars from the boosters club of the school over years and years and years. So
Good
he
job,
got what was
coach.
coming. But still to this day, it scarred me as a kid. I played football with minors who were shooting up steroids. And so it scarred me. And so I'm
Yeah.
anti-steroids. I'm anti-steroids. I'm like across the effing board. But if you're an adult, hey, do what you want to do, you know? But
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's the whole, and that gets dicey too, because there's some of the orals that some kids are doing it without their parents knowing for athletic prowess. And then there's another group whose parents are like, I dole out your vitamins and manage your life. Here,
yep.
just take this new supplement. And they don't even know that they're not even consenting because they don't even know that they're being given it to them. And in both cases, I'm like, please no. But
I actually live in the land of where people groom their children to be sports stars. I told you about my neighbor, my
I know that
sister.
makes me so sad.
My sister is doing it right now. Her children are playing sports just because they're tall. What if they want to be an artist? What if they want to be a banker? What if they, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many other things in life than ruining your body.
Absolutely. And that's early age single sport specialization sets you up for injury, and less than 0.5% of youth sports players actually make it to a professional team with any longevity and sustainable career. It's a lie.
Yeah, it's a big lie. The average NFL career is 2.5, 3 years. That's if you make it, and that's in sports
Yeah.
in general, you know. And I know someone that played in the NFL, didn't save a dime, and has nothing to show for. I have more money than someone that played in the NFL.
Right, because just because you make it doesn't mean you're smart with your money. You're like, oh, I'm going to get the big caddy. I'm going to buy the Gucci and the Prada and get the big house on the hill. And then you blow it all and didn't save any for retirement. Don't have any other job because you didn't go to school to have a fallback.
It still trips me out. It still trips me out. I consider that grooming because that word gets thrown around so much.
Yeah.
But we groom, like, because people are like, oh, you know, I am the Lord and protector of drag queens. And it bothers me because people are like, drag queens are grooming kids. No, they're not. They hate kids. First off, drag queens hate children.
Yeah, most of them.
Like,
why are some of these schools getting the adult performers for kids shows? Like,
it's new age, head and hand instead of in brain. They're walking around with their brains in their hands instead of. We used to separate children in general, and that's another thing. What we consider a teenager or a child, really, that class wasn't invented until the 1940s and 50s. Of what now we consider a child. And there are certain protections in place for a reason, because developmentally we want them to be at a certain stage. Like even right now, I am so excited where my son is. There's no pressure. There's no, like when I was a kid, we were pretending to be adults.
Right.
We were not trying to be kids. We were pretending to be adults. They're just two goofy ass kids having a good time, you know?
Yes.
So when I see and you know, because I'm Mr. Atheist, like I could go off about the church, but like if you take the church out of it, sports, we do that to children in general. Oh, you're from a crummy neighborhood, but you're 6, 7 at 13. Here, we'll put you in this academy. On the East Coast, it's worse.
Yeah, yeah, and the accessibility for anabolics and Anavar and the SERMs and the SARMs and all of the new names. There's so many new chemicals on the market they're getting their hands on that we don't even know all the long-term effects. And they don't realize the cardiac, the liver, the kidney, they're not developmentally aware enough to know the long-term health benefits, nor are they smart enough to speak to their medical professionals like, hey, I'm doing this, so that they can get the appropriate monitoring. Like sometimes I'm like, I don't care if you're doing stuff, but just let me know so I know what screening test you actually need. Just come and be honest to me.
In the medical world, you have to be. As someone who has had who was born with the illness, you have to tell the doctor everything that you did to yourself, so they can actually help you.
Right, and if they're good provider, there's no shame. It's just they can't offer you the best if they don't know what they're working with.
Absolutely. Because I grew up around a bunch of wannabe sports stars, like the whole Sarah thing traumatized me as a kid. And I have a someone, we're not friends anymore, but, and I'm not even saying this to be shaming or anything, and this was without Respidol. He took so much steroids, but what they weren't telling him was that they were giving him progesterone, all these things, where now he has breasts.
Oh, well, the steroids in those cells can cause gynecomastia, but if you're pairing it with progesterone because you crushed your estrogen and all your stuff, yeah.
And he talks about, he's open about it now because we're friends on Facebook, and his kids are playing sports, which is even worse because I'm like, why would you put your kids in the sport that ruined your life? I wouldn't do that. I asked my son, you can do anything you want. We tried all these things, and he's like, you know what? I don't want to do this. I'm like, cool, let's go home. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing I like about the Special Olympics is that they have a million different sports. So if it's not one thing your kid's into, they can find something else.
Right. Well, and I think that's the true for neurotypical kids too. It's not like there's one sport. You should try all sorts of things and see what you like. You're there for team building, for skills building, for hand-eye coordination, for the fun of it, and for being a lifelong athletic, fit human. It's not just to
I agree.
Be a professional. I have all these hoops. Nobody's calling me up to perform at Cirque du Soleil anytime soon. I just do it because I love it.
Hey, if the Kings are watching, I have my ice skates and my stick ready.
Put me on the B team, coach. I'm here for you.
I can take a punch.
Right. I've got good dental insurance. I can put my teeth back in later.
They have some of the greatest. I told you, I watch a lot of hockey. When you see them in the off season, you're like, they look strange with a full set of teeth.
Exactly. Oh, Liz, I've struggled with that, honestly. I try to tell my doctors everything now that I have good doctors fair. In my opinion, it can be hard to find a good doctor sometimes. Absolutely. It really can be. Not everybody's a good fit. The medical insurance model doesn't work when you only have 7.5 minutes with your provider. That's not enough time for them to build rapport and to feel comfortable being completely honest, which is a whole other tangent I could rant about for days and days. Oh, you admire the fact that I can hoop. It's the size of the hoop makes a difference. To on-body hoop with my little 28-incher is hard, but my big girl 42-incher is a dream. The size matters sometimes.
I have a strange question. Did you have hula hoops at your elementary school as a kid?
I did.
I did too. I wonder if they, when I was a kid, we had a tetherball, hula hoops. They encouraged us to do all kinds of stuff.
Absolutely. And the it's because I also love the rhythmic gymnastics and the hula hoop at the Olympics. And circus.
I had a few. People always talk about their negative male influences. I had a lot of positive male influences in my life. I knew somebody who was a male gymnast who was married to a woman.
Right. Just because your sport doesn't mean you're a preference. Or the male ice skaters, yes, half of them may be of one persuasion, but I bet at least half of them are of another persuasion.
But he had a studio. And let me tell you, we would go as a kid and I still use those skills. Get me on a balance beam, I'll shock you. I will shock you. I still have I still use those skills, and those skills have saved my life from falling off a scaffolding, from you know what I'm saying? I've carried those on.
Balance is a skill that we don't practice often enough. That's why I was joking a couple weeks ago about brushing your teeth with standing on one foot, or closing your eye and standing on one foot. Oh, Liz, you can do it. You can do whatever you want.
Don't make me tell you the stories about the people I work with. I work with someone that has MS.
Just because
You know.
on-body hooping might not be your skill, but there's off-body hooping, there's hand hooping.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the hand hoops.
You can go this way, you can go this way. Or the butterfly. There's so many tricks that are not on body hooping. I know, you skating backwards on incline on rollerblades, and who has rollerblades anymore but you?
It's because I learned to ice skate first.
Yeah.
And so ice skating, like, there are consequences and repercussions when you fall on ice.
Yeah, and getting cut in the face with your blades.
Oh, so I learned at a very young age how to skate, and that's why I do my ice skater move still, because I want to prove to myself I still have it.
Right.
And that's another thing, like playing hockey as a kid, we would do figure eights. We would try to do the full like figure skater, like we would, we were trying to imitate the people.
Toe pick.
Yeah. Getting screamed at because we were chopping the ice. Like, I miss those days. And it was nothing about like, oh, you're trying to be a girl. Like, no. Back to the male gymnast I knew. I still know him. He's like, I wouldn't mess with him. He's a buff 60-year-old man.
Right. You're welcome, Liz. And I will start filming some more hooping content. I know this is a weird mashup of sewing and circus and hooping, but I sew so I can hoop in my costume. So I will do some hooping tutorials just for you. I keep saying it and I haven't done it, but I'm going to do it because there's one more person who will watch it. So I'm here for you, Liz. We'll do some basic tricks. And there's people at the Saturday market for cheap hoops, or do I have any to spare? No, I left my other baby hoops in New York when I was traveling, but we'll figure this out. I'll show you some stuff. You too will be an awesome hooper. I know balance practice is important, and good job taking the time to do it. And yeah, cerebellar ataxia, that just sounds terrible. You're amazing. Oh, Liz, you're so sweet. I tell people in my day-to-day world, I'm just the best I can be for those who like to be around me, and I'm not the right fit for everybody, and that's okay, nor do I try to be, because I can't do it. I just do what I can for those I can.
Oh wow. Have you ever seen this vest? I wear a ton of vests, and like people, they eventually think it's the same. This patch that says "fuck your feelings," I had to stop wearing it in public because people, like, we live in an emotional time, and like it's an old school biker patch, but oh man, does it fit now?
Yeah, because we have to stop. It's like I tell a lot of folks, it's important to feel your feelings, because if you don't feel them, that's a problem. But also, they can't rule you, and sometimes they shouldn't be here. We might need to bring them into like here, and that's okay also.
I take my feelings into context that I am pretty much the only one that cares. I have a saying, like, someone will say, "How you doing?" I'll say, "You know what? I could complain, but no one would care."
Fair. Yup. I'm breathing today. It's a good day.
Exactly. It's the strangest thing. I think because I was raised by old world people who were like, no, I'll give you a reason to cry, or
Yep.
Kids were to be seen.
Oh, seen but not heard.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, or that old Slavic, you're like, a compliment was, that was not the shittiest I ever saw you do that, was like the best compliment you were going to get. So you learn to take constructive criticism and roll on with it.
And that's another thing. Maybe it's because I was raised around such harsh people. When I was a kid, I know it's shocking, I would wear vests. And
Really?
there was one time I showed up at a party at my grandma's house wearing a white t-shirt with a blue blazer vest. And I walked in, and my cousin was like, "You look like Michael Jackson. Your outfit's terrible." Sometimes you need honesty.
That is true. And it is true, Liz. You do need to feel to heal. You can't run away from your feelings and your experiences because they do shape you. It's just what I was trying to get. Like, I think sometimes you can get lost in the feelings and you lose your rational mind.
I tell my son, though, that like emotions are liars. Like, you feel one way, give yourself an hour. Give yourself 2 days. You won't feel the same way in 2 days, you know?
I'm old school. So I would never, ever say something like, you hurt my feelings. Nope, I'll cry in privately.
But then going back to the whole bell hooks thing, like, I don't think it's a good thing either. Like, as humans, I don't know, like, because we have now a generation of traumatized people who turned around and either did worse or overcompensated by doing nothing. Oh. And now we have kids who go on the workforce and can't take orders.
Right. They don't understand constructive criticism is not an insult to your value as a human being overall.
Yesterday, I called Apple, okay? I was talking to the person like I'm talking to you now. And the guy was like, "Sir, you have to calm down and stop yelling at me." And I said, "What?" He's like, "You're yelling at me." I said, "No, bro, this is the way I speak. I'm sorry. I have one effing tone. I'm sorry. I need your help." He hung up on me.
Wow.
And that's not rare for Apple. Like because of my area, I get the catty. And I'm going to say something. And I'll say it here. I'll say it on my channel. Men are the biggest snowflakes on earth. Because whenever I call and a woman picks up, she will sit on the phone with me for 2 to 3 hours, help me figure out whatever's wrong with my computer. When I get a man, it's almost like I have to cater to somebody who's trying to, like, isn't it your job to, like, help me?
Right? I'm not here to help you. This is not the You Help Me helpline.
And because I'm computer illiterate and I'm willing to admit I am ignorant, so I bought the 4-year warranty, so they can't even lie and be like, "Oh, you don't," like, they have to help me.
I paid for this service, darn it all.
And the guy told me, he's like, "You only got like a year left," because I bought my computer in 2020.
Like, stop for reminding me. Just help me, so I'm not wasted. Time's a wasting, kid.
So they can't. Oh, and you know what? Like, and I try not to be an ageist because I grew up around people that were. My grandfather was literally World War II era. He thought the 80s was just crazy. He was like, these 80s kids are gonna ruin this planet.
Yeah, we did. I think we did.
Not like the generation after.
I know, but did we help ruin them? Because some of them were parents.
I think like I always say, we learn from each other. So we, like, no one's innocent in this situation. And that's what I always try to say, because like people that know me, they think that I'm slowly like leaning right. But the truth is that I am pro-human. I am pro-human. Whatever you are, whoever you are, I want you to succeed. I am anti-bureaucracy and red tape and having to I don't know. Maybe the old way wasn't that bad, and we're throwing the baby out with the bathwater, you know?
Yeah, I think we need to swing back to the middle. Like, we went too far, and now we're overcompensating. And
I've always said that it's good to be in the middle. Like,
yeah. And be like Liz. I'm more of a bite my tongue and cry in private. I literally just had someone tell me I was yelling at them when I wasn't. Yeah. You haven't heard my yelling voice. I'm sorry for people with their earbuds in.
And that's another thing. Like, I can go full Karen. Anyone who's seen my Karen, and I was at a 5 in my Karen video. I wasn't even full Karen with my hair. I turned into a Megazord, like on Power Rangers. I get all huge. All of a sudden I become 300 feet tall.
I was only level 5 Karen. You didn't see the full level 10 Karen yet.
I said I want to speak to a manager. Where is our manager? But it made me like, has this guy never been around boisterous people? Like, I know real life Africans and real life Egyptians and Scottish people. I know, man, you get in a house of Scottish people, it's a yelling contest.
Oh, that's like a New York Italian family on a Sunday afternoon after church. Like they're not angry, but you probably want to wear your earplugs if you want to hear on Monday.
Exactly. Exactly, you know. I just feel like I don't know. Like lately, I can see a few people that I used to associate with, don't associate with anymore. It's because I'm pro human, you know.
Yep. Just like
Because
Liz.
also what I find though is that when you become myopic and you get stuck in one group, all of a sudden you're fighting for things that you don't even believe in or
Yeah,
agree with, you know.
right. I think that's how the groups like never get anywhere because they're like, you're not enough of what we think you should be. And it's like, no, what are we actually working towards? And can we just stay focused on that one thing? Like, rather than like, you're not enough.
I love it when and this is not, and it's in certain circles, and I got it in both the African American circles and other places, but people would be like, you're black? You don't dress like you do. You don't talk like a black person. Someone had literally told me I do not dress like a black person. And I asked the dumb question. I asked the stupidest. I said, what do black people dress like?
It's right. Just because I don't have to ask you a question doesn't mean I ain't what I am.
You've never been to Venezuela. You've never been, like, there are black people all around. And that's another thing. Like, if you go to South and Central America, all those people that were enslaved didn't go anywhere.
Right?
Guyana is nothing but people of color, and that's in South America.
Mm-hmm.
I think, but this is more of an American sense because we're sheltered.
That's true. Yep. I don't want you to yell at me, Liz, because I'm sure when you're yelling, then shit's really getting ready to hit the fan. You ask too many questions. I can't stick to one group. Exactly.
Liz has a sweet voice too. So if you got cursed out by Liz, you'd be like, oh, I'm getting cursed out in a really sweet way.
Yeah, and I worry that we're getting to this place where people are afraid to ask questions. And I think that's one of the most scariest things. Like, if you're afraid to ask questions and to have critical thoughts, then I'm very terrified for what's going on right now.
And that's it. And I think that's what happened because we have fallen into mass movements. And it's almost to the point where people are like, what mass movement are you in? I'm in these 5. What are you in?
Right. Yeah. No, that's not my identity. I'm like, I'm a human, a circle, and what more do you need to know?
I always talk about it. It's the self-bill of rights. Like, I reserve the right to change tomorrow. I reserve the right to, you know, like, there's all kinds of things. You don't have to justify who you are to other people. And I think that's where I clash with, and I know I'm going to show my age on this one. I thought we were going downhill when we started having all those judge shows on television. Because what happens is people go out in real life and they start thinking that you can critique everything and everybody does, and you don't have to, you know. I watch a lot of YouTube about fashion, and I have fallen in a hole of these young men who are real. This one young man I follow is a real fashion designer. He has his own line. He has models. This guy's legit. Like, he has his own company. But, like, I don't know. It's kind of discouraged me from going in the field because they're so catty towards each other. They're awful. Like, other designers will walk up and be like, "You suck." Like, they're in their fashion show.
Yeah, I think that's true with all. I mean, I think with artistic professions, I wonder if that's pretty common amongst groups.
And this guy's pretty elite, and he has a I respect anyone that, like, he has his own reality show. Circle. I like it when you say that. I'm a
I
circle.
stole it from Coach Greg Doucette. He's like, he's got a girlfriend, but talks about everybody as being circles. We're like, I'm not a man, I'm not a woman, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm just a circle.
I like
Leave me
that.
alone.
I like that. I had someone tell me a long time ago, like, you fall in love with people. Like, stop trying to justify, everything else in between.
Right.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites for some of his best recipes he gives away for free, not his very expensive cookbooks, but his protein powder is my favorite, and I vetted a lot of protein powders.
That reminds me. Do you know what's so funny? Like, I watched this YouTuber. Her name's the Yorkshire Sew Girl.
Oh, yes, Rowana. Yep.
Do you know every time I write on her channel, she responds to me? I love her.
Oh, that's so cute. I should drop into her chat more.
There was one time where I finally fanboyed and I was like, I love your channel. You're amazing. And part of it also is that, like, she'll release a video at 1 or 2 West Coast time in the morning.
Right.
So I catch her right when she's sitting at her computer.
Yeah.
But, like, she's the one. I recently watched one of her videos, and she's the one. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do so frugal this year because I never do, and this is the 3rd year that I'll be avoiding it.
No, we're gonna do it. I started sewing online last year. I did it, and I think I'm gonna redo this corset because it didn't take that long. So that's gonna be my project. Not that I'm like in it for the prizes.
You get recognition though. Like, that's why I try to do Friday sews, but I never make it to Friday because it's because I have a child. If I didn't have a child.
I know, I've been seeing all these Fridays. That's my next. I'm going to try to do pre-records and get on the Friday sew pre-records train.
That helped my channel. That got me quite a few. Or I'll tell you, there's a weird group of procrastinators that tag Friday sews on Saturdays, and it works too. And Saturday, hashtag Saturday sews. That's like, okay. I'm a procrastinator, hashtag.
I can do this.
Those work too. Right. Those got me quite a few subscribers.
Okay.
But I have to. So, Rowan, she's absolutely awesome. And she has the UK hair. Like, if a woman was to walk up to me, I'd be like, what part of the UK are you from? If she had that haircut with the bangs and the
the fringe, I know all the things.
But she's one of those people that kind of inspired me to start my YouTube channel because she's just talking,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so funny. I imbibe in a lot of sewing content.
Me too.
I want to know, like, back to that weird designer guy though, like, would it be weird if I made a shirt just because I saw, like, would I be copying a fashion designer, or is it like one of those things where everything under the sun has already been done? So I'm not going to, like, copy the print. I'm just going to copy the style.
Yeah, I think being inspired by style isn't that imitation is the greatest form of flattery, except for when Shein knocks off your hundreds of hours worth of handmade stitched dress.
Oh, it stopped raining in Portland. I like that.
Well, it's snowing at my house again.
It's raining here.
Oh my God, it rains.
We've had real weather this year. This is the first year, like, during this summer, I got rid of all my live streams from a couple years ago, but I'm in here with, like, a vest on, literally, and a beater underneath because it's so hot in here.
Yeah.
And this winter has become complete opposite.
I know, we're still having winter here. I've never lived where I live now and had snow into March. Never.
Same. I'm, like, totally tripping out right now. I am totally tripping out on the weather, and, like, it's weird. I caught it. I dropped my big wizard pipe, but I caught it. Don't forget
No
to
dropsies.
before I dropped my pipe. Don't forget to hit the like button, everybody.
Oh, thank you. So we're here for Stitching and Bitching on Sundays at the Sunday Stitch and Bitch show.
And let me tell you, I could bitch for days. Well, how do you feel? Okay, so I kind of touched on this on my live stream, but how do you feel about Andrew Tate having lung cancer?
Do we know that he actually has lung cancer?
His lawyer admitted to it, but again, my sources are Twitter and his lawyer. You know.
Well, his lawyer would probably know best. It's possible. I mean, you can have cancer of any organ at any age, so anything's possible. And from the legal things I've heard, it sounds like he's getting set up by some cranky boyfriend of one of his cam girls.
Yeah, I read that too.
So it sounds like he's not actually, he's kind of getting set up and shafted all 2 ways till Tuesday.
They're shaming him. This is what happens, and I don't believe in the Matrix. I don't believe in any of that. But it happens in America. If you tick someone off enough, they'll just shame you.
Right, or they're going to dox you or try to steal your business or ruin you and be horrible and make you spend untold monies on legal battles. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of how I feel like I think Alex Murdaugh did a whole bunch of really legally shitty things that he should be convicted on, but I'm still not sold that he offed his wife and his kid. I don't know. But at least with not help.
The court of public opinion demands a body. That's the problem with
give us your blood sacrifice.
Yep. That's the problem. You know, Bobby Hemmett used to say that all the time. He used to be like, I don't think that this guy's guilty, but they needed a sacrifice this year. He used to say that all the time. So I ordered 3 patches for one. Right, I only wanted one. But these are the ones that came with it. And I'm here all day for tigers. I will wear this on and I'm probably gonna get a huge godless sewing on it too. And you know what? I don't know how I feel about this, but I have been on my weird bohemian. But this man is wearing like a World War I helmet. I don't know how to feel about this one. Keep in mind, this came straight from China.
Is he smoking a cigar with he's just missing his gas mask. I think he's perfect.
I like it. I'm gonna wear it. He kind of looks like Rick Ross in a weird way.
You're just oddly paying homage to the I'm gonna get on brain. Get this right.
It's grown on me. I weirdly like it. I really, really weirdly like it.
Okay, that train's not at the station right now.
I'm obsessed with tiger patches. It is the lamest thing. When Isaiah was younger, he watched this show called We Be Bears. It was about 3 bears who were people. One was a panda, one was a polar bear, and the other one was a brown bear. And they were brothers. It was a cartoon. But,
okay, I was like,
but in the show, they found a jacket in the trash. And on the back, it was a jean jacket with a big tiger on it. And watching the show, I was like, that's actually a really sick idea. So ever since I watched that years ago, I have been trying to recreate the tiger patch, but it had a rainbow on it. But I'm not going to put a rainbow on it, but I'm here all day for the giant tiger patch.
Fair.
I just have to make sure it's not gang affiliated.
Right, you got to consult the book of signs.
LA's dangerous. Like, you cannot wear, like, there's like, because there's a gang on every block. I was talking to my ex-wife's husband about this last night because he knows more about it than I do. Like, it's dangerous. Like, the only hat you could really wear is an LA hat. Like, if I was to go over the hill looking like this, you better know how to defend yourself, or you know, like, LA's crazy. LA is crazy.
I've never been. The closest I got was Riverside.
Riverside's no joke too. That's that's the redneck part of California. You can shoot guns out there. You can you can have a
Right? I
plane
know.
in
Do
your
they still have orange or citrus orchards, or is there not enough water anymore?
both.
Fair.
Both. It's the same here. Like all this water is like manna because we have
Right.
I'm surrounded by I'm like on the very outskirts of LA. If I was to drive west heading towards the beach, the road, which they just turned into a freeway, um it goes through nothing but farmland.
Mm-hmm.
It goes through nothing but farmland. Because California is lush farmland, you know? Like
Right.
that's
It used to be when there was water.
and like Central California, that is all they do is like if anyone's ever been to Central California, it's cow hell.
Right. Migrant farmers and big ag.
It's the strangest thing. You turn a corner and you see 500,000 cows on endless acres, just on endless. It's gross because they're
Yeah.
walking around in their own dung. Like it's just you could smell it 20 miles
Ooh,
away.
that's sad.
And I didn't realize what happy cows were until I lived in Oregon and saw cows
Mm-hmm.
actually grazing on grass and actually living, with the environment,
Yeah.
because like you said, it's big ag in Central Cali. So it's just massive farms,
Yeah.
like endless. When I say endless, like imagine have like you own the county. Like there's farmers, they literally own like the property the size of what I would consider the county I live in.
Right.
And then there's Mendocino and who's the other? Who owns Kellogg's?
Oh, is
Not
that
Kellogg.
Nestle's or
Yes. They stole all of our water and then sold it back to us.
Yeah, I mean, and Nestle's is international because aren't they a Dutch company?
They've been kicked out of Colorado. They've been kicked out of Michigan. They've stole water from Michigan.
I know. Well, Flint still doesn't have water. That's a whole other travesty.
And
Speaking of, oh,
sorry,
God,
go ahead. No, I
I
was
was
about to
gonna.
go. Kamala Harris, people love her. She was a self-hating black woman until she ran for president. Because it was known if you're African American and you went in front of her, she's gonna put you in jail forever.
Eh,
And she invited Nestle in, and they took all of our water
ugh.
and
Yeah,
made hot
Nestle.
pockets.
I know. Oh, I don't eat those anymore, but I do miss them, except for the
Me
burning
too.
in my mouth because they were always too hot in the middle.
I have Isaiah. You know, it's so funny. One day, Isaiah on his own, he came to me. He's like, "We were at the store." I was like, "You want a hot pocket?" He's like, "We don't eat hot pockets anymore." He won't eat anything that's Nestle product. He won't anything.
That's good that he is special and has researched all of them and has it memorized.
Oh, you know what? I'm a mess because when I found out that what was in Kraft macaroni and cheese, that's when I started with the propaganda with my child. But he took it to a whole other level where he's like eating okra and shaming me. Like
Not everybody likes the slimy texture, kid.
no. I don't like anything slimy, and that's the thing. Like, I don't like green beans. I don't like collard greens. Like, I'm sorry, kick me out the club. I don't care. Like,
Yeah, I
anything
think you
that
might have to turn in your Southern card.
oh, and that's the funny thing. Like, when my ex-wife's mom, she was from Ohio, but man, that woman could cook until she made greens. Like, she made collard greens, and I was like, "Are you trying to kill me? Did I upset you? Like, what's going on?" Because I don't eat those things, and they hit me like a nuke. Because I don't eat those things, and I discovered that when I was in the South, and everything tastes good, and you're like, oh, I don't eat this for a reason.
Right, because it's called bacon fat.
It's so funny you would say that. My mother makes the best split pea soup, the best. And so recently, I bought all the ingredients and left it on her table.
Oh, that's just mean. He could have
called
just
me.
asked her.
She
But
called
at least
me.
you bought the ingredients for her and didn't just drop it in.
Oh no! If I ever ask anything of anyone, I will provide it for you because I know I'm being a half-ass human because I can do it myself. But hers tastes better. But I asked her, I was like, man, why does this taste so good? And she's like, oh, it's all grease and lard. I was like,
It's called
oh,
the ham hock.
that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Oh man, because when I reheat it the next day, it's almost gelatinous.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It is so good. But I grew up on it, so I don't know any better.
Right.
Like are you a fish eating kind of person?
I do love good seafood.
I
think his name is Isaiah.
Yeah. Do you know what's so funny? He's cooking dinner right now. Because there was a sale, and usually I buy smaller things of chicken, but I bought these like giant half chickens because there was a sale. So they're going to take longer to cook than usual.
That's okay, but then you can save the bones and stick them in the freezer and break them up with some vinegar and cook them for a few hours and have broth and have an extra meal.
I didn't think about that. I give the bones to the raccoons and to the possums.
You could do that, but I recook mine and have 2 meals instead of just one.
I like that. Do you know the raccoons are fearless? They are not scared of humans.
No, they're not.
Possum, when I turn the light on, he scurries away. Like skunks too. Skunks are not scared of humans. In my neighborhood, there is I thought it was one, but there's several. And I took a picture of it. Its tail was so big. Its tail makes it at least 3 or 4 feet.
Oh my God.
That's what I said. I had to take a picture because I'd never seen a skunk. I was like, what is this freakish thing in my backyard? Because they're all obsessed with the cat bowl.
You're not a great cook, Liz. It doesn't thrill me. I think it's hard cooking for one. I grew up learning how to cook for an small army, so that's all I know how to do.
You know what, Liz? I recently lost my my love for cooking. Not every, I cooked every day. Let's see, my ex-wife and I broke up. Isaiah's been with. I cooked every day for 11 years, and then one day I was like, "Oh, you're old. Let's see how you can cook."
Right. You're old enough to reach the stove or have a step stool. I can supervise. Get to work, kid.
Well, like Isaiah was like, he's like, Dad, you cook the same thing over and over. I was like, bro, you can gladly take my chef hat. Right. Like I have lost ideas. I have lost ideas of what to cook.
Oh, giant skunks with more laughing skunky emojis.
One day I will show all the non-sewing pictures. Like I take weird pictures. I take pictures in LA. We have the funniest billboards, and it's always like, "Don't drop the soap. Here, call this lawyer." There's another one though. I took a picture of it, and it says, "Guns and dope, don't lose hope." And it's a lawyer who specializes in people who get caught for having dope on them or guns. Coincidentally, I actually called his law office, and they're good people.
Well, it's good to know your resources and.
Well, I researched him, and like his office doesn't lose. So, and you know what? In LA, California is a land of lawyers. People sue each other here. It is the most idiotic thing. When I lived in other states, people handle their problems like adults. But here we are grown children, so everybody sues each other.
Do you think that was influenced by old Hollywood and all the negotiating for contracts that's been a part of the culture for such 100 years now?
Yes, and we have a very self-entitled culture here. Like people say when I say California, it's because I've lived in a bunch of different other places. I'm not referencing it like I think I'm better. It's just where I live.
Yeah.
But some people say it like California, like it means something. Like, no, people move
It's
here to
just a
be
state with idiots like everywhere else.
yeah. And the sad thing is people move here to be pretentious. It's nothing to brag about. Like there's these drag queens I watch. I hope I don't run into them. They moved to North Hollywood and they've said it so many times where I'm like you guys have doxed yourself.
Right. Nobody cares. Why?
Like they moved from Chicago to LA and they're like in the scene and West Hollywood
Mhm.
scene, like it'll make you famous. But like don't dox yourself. LA, there's a lot of scary people that live here. Like
Right.
but they
Weirdos
don't
with
realize
guns and dope.
yeah. But they like, and Chicago is dangerous too,
Yeah.
I've
Weird.
been I've been sued over 30 times. Private owned once when I worked at Carl's Jr. in Portland, Oregon. Fun fact, Carl's Jr., if you get sued, they'll give you a lawyer, but they make you defend the case by yourself. They basically like like you are Carl's Jr. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Oh,
Like
so if you did something while you were working, yeah.
they send lawyers and everything. It was weird. Somebody slipped and fell in the store, and I was a store manager, and they sued the store, but it got thrown out because I had camera footage of them acting like an
Right.
idiot.
Yeah.
And with my job, anyone I've ever ticked off, they sue me. California's crazy. I fired somebody for being for insubordination. I caught them hiding in an electrical room that if they had touched anything, they would have been like a fried turkey.
Oh God.
Because they would disappear for hours on end. And I work with grown men. Like
Yeah.
me being in my 40s, I'm the youngest person there. So they were like, don't hire this kid. And I did, because he was this big giant kid, but he was 20 years old, fresh out the box, and he would hide after lunch. And we have buildings that were built in the 50s. So the electrical rooms, if you don't know what you're doing, like you could end
Yeah,
your
that's a
life.
scary place. Well, that's like the kid who, what was it? KO'd his teacher for taking away his Switch.
These people are so lucky. I do not work at these schools. I would go to jail that day. They would have to put me under the jail and stop me from fighting that kid. You do
I know
like
this kid was huge, and she was, and like, what? Why did you have your Switch at school? Is the first thing I have to say. But don't KO your teacher.
we come from a different era. Like I thought about suplexing my teachers. I never would.
Right?
I would
Because we know
daydream.
we would get in trouble at school, and then you get home and Pa would have the
Yep.
the belt out, and then Grandpa
Right.
would come over too, and it would be tag teamed.
Exactly. And I think because we don't have the village to beat the crap out of the kids anymore. No, that was awful. That's not okay. And you know what's really funny? I have fallen into this hole of watching kids fight their teachers on Twitter. I don't want to send my kid to public school now.
Yeah, no.
My Twitter, I like purposely go through and like a bunch of Star Trek stuff just to get the Star Trek stuff in my Twitter because they're
Right.
more positive.
Fix up my algorithm. I don't like what you're feeding me, Twitter. Give me more Star Trek and more fashion
Please.
and less bullshit, less scary bullshit, please. But the one thing, okay, I did see on Twitter and like hardly anywhere else, in Buffalo on Wednesday, there was a huge explosion and fire at a costume shop in the theater district. The explosion was terrifying. One of the firefighters died. Oh my
gosh.
God. And a costume shop burned down.
Makes me wonder what they had underneath it or in it.
Well, it sounds like they were doing construction, probably welding, because there was propane torches involved. So it could have been the construction crew was not secure with their oxygen or their tanks.
It sounds like that. And I hate to say it, but like we are digressing. People do not know how to work on the things that were left for us. Like I think a lot of the train derailments are because we don't have people who are properly trained on what to do. We just, hey, can you drive a train? Here you go.
Right. But they're also not keeping up with the maintenance of the rail lines. And it sounds like that was the whole thing why the the train strike narrowly was averted because they don't have enough time off. They're not being cared for. Like, the lines are being abused. It's a whole art, and that's our real infrastructure is the rail lines. It's not, I mean, boats from China and India and the railways is how we move stuff in this country.
Where I live is a spaghetti bowl of railways because of the Long Beach port.
Yep.
You know, it's the biggest on the West Coast. Well, I would say the one in Vancouver would rival it, but that's just because I've seen it with my own two eyes.
The port of Seattle's pretty big too, but I've never seen the one at Long Beach, so I can't compare. I've only seen the port of Seattle.
It's so big it has its own zip code.
Okay.
Once you go over the Vincent Thomas Bridge, if you are looking to the right, all of that is the port except for that weird federal island where they keep there's a federal prison out in the middle of the ocean that no one talks about.
Because we thought Alcatraz closed.
Well, it became famous because that's where they sent all the Al-Qaeda people they caught. They're literally in prime real estate in LA looking at one of the most beautiful places on earth.
Right there on the beach. I'm like, how is this? I'm on the beach. I have fresh seafood. What's wrong with this?
That totally reminds me. I've been cleaning out everything, and I found my deck with all the Iraqi soldiers on it. The deck of cards.
I don't have that deck. I have the one that's got Norman Schwarzkopf. I've got the U.S. Army deck. I think still in the wrapper, even.
I can't even name how. I can't properly pronounce the names of these people. I can't believe they found this many people to charge in the Iraqi army.
Oh, that's funny. I've got the partner to that deck.
There's Saddam, the Ace of Spades. Now I have Ace of Spades stuck in my head.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what's so sad is, and I'm not going to get too hardcore conspiracy on you, but like when they finally caught up with Saddam, they hung him and they videotaped it. And he was like, do you know who I am? Show me your faces. Like, Saddam did not go quietly.
No. Those things, when we do things like that, it's who doesn't realize that it just makes martyrs and it makes people more froth at the mouth of passion.
I'm going to say something really controversial. Gaddafi. They killed Gaddafi. The United and he, you know why? And unfortunately, if you lived in Africa, he liked black people. He launched the first satellite in Africa so that Africans could have cell phones.
I know they've got the best internet banking of any continent in the whole world because you can't get to a bank. So everything's done on cell phones and crypto or whatever. I don't know if it's crypto anymore, but
Gaddafi invented that. And like, they painted, I don't live anywhere near him, so I don't know what kind of, that's the thing. I can't believe the propaganda because he helped his own people.
Yep.
And if you ask, and it wasn't just his people, like he gave all of Africa cell service.
Right. I know. I know. So then it's like, who's really the bad guy? Us who are like trying to beat people down, or these people who are, we don't like what you're saying and what you think, but
propaganda works. I say this all the time.
It does. It's why Ukraine and Russia is still a thing.
Mm-hmm.
After a whole year.
I actually saw some Ukrainian people today. Today. The Walmart. Excuse me.
Choke mofo. Sorry.
I am Billy Piper. I am just smoking my face off. I love Sunday stitching, bitch. I am growing to love this.
I know, because we actually do some sewing, and I finally have some. This is what I dreamed about. I kept putting invites to bigger YouTubers, and then I fell into your YouTube fed me your station. And I was like, yes, I think I found people who I like to stitch and bitch with.
That is literally what I do. And my quest to show people that like Louis Vuitton is ripping you off.
Right.
No, because if I wore this hat around certain circles, they would be like, is that a Louis hat? Is that a blah, blah, blah? It's just
Do
because
you
of the
want it
print.
to be?
Yeah. I'll call it Bluey.
Yes.
How about Bluey?
Yes, it is. Or is it glowy? This is my glowy hat.
Bluey Vuitton. Glowy Vuitton. I think because I grew up eating malto
Bluey
meal,
Vuitton.
like I'm not anti knockoffs. I'm not anti knockoffs at all, you know?
No, I miss my grandma getting government cheese.
Nothing wrong with that. I'll make you
Oh,
some.
those giant bricks of yellow government cheese.
I remember all that back in the day. I
We
think
will
it's
never lose hope, Liz. Sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. I think it's a disservice that certain companies prey on certain cultures. Like when Subaru got caught only advertising towards lesbians, and they were like, huh? But then Subaru was like, hey, they're the only ones buying our cars.
I know it was a trope, but it was true.
Yeah.
Like everything in myth and fantasy and conspiracy has a kernel of truth that it was sprung out of, because you can't make this shit up.
But I want to show first, making your clothes is not as difficult as you think, and you're gonna make a billion mistakes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Buy cheap fabric and be prepared to cry at least a few times. If you haven't bled, cried, and sweated over your projects, then you're not a real sewist.
Do you know what? I'm one of those people, because I hand sew, I'm always like, let me see the tip of your finger. If you don't have a giant crater, or if you can't light a lighter like Marge Simpson, was that Marge, or was that her sisters?
No, it was Patty and Selma who
Yeah.
smoking like chimneys.
But they were like, oh no, they like showed the sewing finger, like you have no feeling in the tip of your finger. Like I have missing skin there from sewing so much.
Don't you have a thimble?
I do, but I have freakishly large man hands.
Oh, don't you have scraps of leather that you can sew yourself a leather thimble?
Ooh, I have tons of
leather. I've
leather.
seen these things. Good, we're inspiring Liz. You can make your own clothes too, just like Skits can fix that button on his leather jacket. And if not, then you can DM one of us and we will walk you through it for free. Or I will charge you $100 to pay me to teach you how to do it for yourself.
Like with my my weird culty Mormon friend, like I told her, like, okay, I'm gonna charge you for this dress because it's labor, but then I'm gonna show you how.
Exactly. You're gonna sit here and while we do this, because it's not that hard.
Especially the churchy type, because they have time on their hands because they don't do the internet, they don't do the television like we.
Exactly. And their clothes are so simple. It's not like you have to do fancy cutouts and like cute things. You just have to make it beautifully
I didn't have
frumpy.
the heart to tell her. She asked me, she's like, how did you learn how to make a denim dress so easy? It's because a friend of mine who was Muslim asked me the same thing, so I had experience.
Making, right.
Because they're all modest. Like they all want these skirts that are like beyond their shoes. Like
right. I want no neck to the wrist, to the ankles, but I want my Louis to show up. Hey, butterfly. Welcome, honey.
How's it going? I've made quite a few dresses for people from different facts, but I live in a hardcore Mormon town, so my doors are open.
Right. I don't make for others, but I will show you how. And I think what was I gonna say?
Hi,
I hate commercial patterns.
I'm really getting away from them. Also, with inflation, like I love Mimi G. I am a YouTube. I watch YouTubers. She's a very famous YouTuber. She has her own simplicity patterns. That's how famous she is.
Right. I saw My Bucolic Life saw one of her best pant jacket combo thingies.
but I'm trying to start making my own patterns, and I really like your idea about so frugal because that'll get me to start drafting my own stuff because I have ideas. Oh, and like I was gonna say earlier, this designer I've been watching, like I like some of his stuff. I'm gonna look it up and see if he has free patterns.
I know the one of my stays is from Ralph Pink. I also like Bianca at the Closet Historian. It's got a great set of tutorials of how to draft basic patterns and then do dart manipulation, because if you've got chesticles, you need to sew darts in your bodices because you got to encapsulate stuff with fabric somehow.
I'm curious, Butterfly. Do you watch I can't say it,
Yorkshire sewing girl.
I love her. I've been watching her for almost 2.5 years. That's one of the channels I originally found, but I am definitely gonna participate this year. You got me all hyped up now. I'm like, I have a ton of fabric.
I know it's not. You've got all of the tools and the knowledge and the resources. It's just doing.
I live in a fabric store.
Right. It's because buying fabric and sewing are two different hobbies.
They are. My good friend Linda, who's in her 70s, she recently checked me and was like, she's like, I don't, but I will. She's a great channel. She's just a wholesome human being. I absolutely love Yorkshire Sew Girl. Absolutely love her channel.
Yeah,
and
go ahead.
She's the one who gave me the idea for UFOs. If you've ever seen my UFO video, she's the one who said out loud, like, unfinished project UFOs, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna take that and run with it.
Yep, me too. I heard it in the knitting world first, but see me, it's the same problem. You just gotta finish it sometimes.
I like what you said about the closet of misfit unfinished projects.
Oh yeah, the banished closet. It's good to go through it sometimes. One of these days I do need to finish that amazing like fake velour jacket schmata that my grandma started, but I'm like intimidated because the tailoring is so beautiful, and it is Yorkshire Sew Girl. Yorkshire Sew. I think it's Sewing Girl or Sew Girl. If I try to pop the link in the chat, my internet might hate me. But
yeah, she's a part of a bunch of really cool people who sew in the UK. And like I said earlier, oh, sorry, please.
Oh, go for it.
It's just weird to me because she's a bigger YouTuber and she instantly responds to me every time I make a comment because my name scares people, and I get it. But so I get it, but she instantly responds to me every time. And so it's awesome. It's weird. It's really weird because you watch somebody and then you're like, that person looks at you like, oh, they do the same thing that I do. But you look at them like they're famous. Not famous, but they're known on YouTube.
Yep, absolutely. They're monetized. So.
Yeah. I talk about this. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, I've got the link. Let me see if I can.
My famous is relative. I have a neighbor who I saw yesterday who is in many commercials. He's a commercial actor. He writes jingles. He lives in my neighborhood. But he's on TV all the time, all the time. Is he famous? Is he like, he's not rich and famous?
Great relative. Yeah.
I just like him because he's down to earth.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome, folks.
Because where I live, it's a weird mix of famous people and
wannabes.
Oh, but like anything else, the wannabes are the worst because they're the most rude.
Yeah.
I like I said, I met Josh Duhamel. Didn't even know it was Josh Duhamel because he was dressed like a hobo, had a full beard. Nicest guy on planet Earth. Nicest guy.
Just like, leave me alone. How do you know me?
Well, no, I think it's because I didn't know who he was. We talked every day for 1.5 years, and I never was like, oh, you're blah, blah, blah. I didn't know who he was, so I just treated him like he was the only other dad.
Yeah.
picking up their kid. We were the only two men there, so we would chat. And then a friend of mine was like, "Do you know who your friend is?"
Now I do.
I had no idea. I had no idea. But that's the thing. Like, he's uber famous. He was married to Fergie at the time.
Oh.
Did never he just was everybody else. But it should have dawned on me because I saw her at the school one day. But where I'm from, like, we leave famous people alone.
Yeah.
Or they wouldn't live here. And plus with the YouTube era, it's weird because a friend of mine was like, somebody moved in my neighborhood and they're like a famous YouTuber and I've never heard of that.
I think there's lots of them because I don't even know, like, PewDiePie. Who was that?
You know, it's so funny. All of those people, like the really uber famous people, or like the one that I love to hate, and I won't even lie, is Jake Paul.
Oh, the other two of them, Jake and Logan.
They got kicked out of Hollywood twice. Do you know how bad of a human you have to be to get kicked out of Hollywood? Like,
right. I mean, running a crypto scam probably doesn't help, but I think that was Logan. I don't remember which, but
before I knew who they were, I was watching the news one day and they were like, these two famous YouTubers are getting evicted from their house because they're such obnoxious dweebs. Oh, Butterfly, I bought a Cowboys jersey today. I bought an old Ricky Williams jersey because I am pro Ricky Williams. He got trashed for just being himself, but I now own a Cowboys jersey, so I'm gonna wear it with my white cowboy hat. It's gonna look great.
I know. And thinking about you, honey, I have my polka dotted circle skirt done,
awesome.
and I just need to. I have a top because I think I'm gonna make it a dress, but I need to baste in some darts to do a little shaping. We've got a cute little. Oh, I guess can I make myself big for a minute? Do I know how to be fancy? I'll have some dart basics in the background. All right. Okay, and you're back. I'm learning.
You know, I know that we can't get context sometimes in texting, but sometimes when people say things to me, I'm like, I don't know if you're just being rude or if you're from New York.
If it comes from my mouth, it's because I come from New York.
No, I on my tutorial videos, if anyone has a question, I will answer you because I know how it is to be stuck.
Yeah.
And tutorials have saved me. And in my early career, every machine I got, I would do a tutorial on, let's run through this machine. And so if anyone ever comments on any of those videos, they're there because they're stuck.
Yep.
But like, sometimes people are so brusque with me. I don't know if they're being rude.
Well, they're not your friend in real life, so I would just be like a beaver and let it be water off my back.
Yeah. It's just like sometimes I'm like, but I'm here to help because I needed help. And there were YouTubers that, like, I'd watch their video and be like, oh, I'm so glad you bought this machine. You know,
seriously, the so few videos about these old white rotaries I searched high and low. There was so few things of like how to thread it, how to figure out the bobbin case because it was unlike any bobbin I'd ever seen before. Yep. And that it's backwards from the singers, that you roll away from yourself. You don't come towards yourself.
That, because I'd only owned white rotary machines, that really messed me up with the singer that I bought. So I was like, what is wrong?
You're like, wrong direct, what's wrong? You're doing it backwards, kid.
It took me, but the funny thing was, when I was looking up the serial numbers, a video popped up and I'm like, all right, let me look at it. And it was like, if you're watching this, then you probably are going in the wrong direction. And I googled godless sewing, and all my videos pop up, and so I'm ecstatic. So if you look up
Awesome.
godless sewing, and all my tutorials pop up too, because I ironically typed in a sewing machine, and a godless sewing tutorial popped in, and I was like, oh, that one. But my mini sewing machine videos really take off because people are obsessed with mini sewing machines.
That's so weird.
I think so too. And I say this all the time because I'm not even pro mini sewing machine, but I'll keep making the videos because like, are you not entertained?
Right. People are curious. I know.
But like, I'm up to almost 4,000 views on the one with the thumbnail with Tiny Tim.
Oh, right.
And it's just, to me, they're useless.
Yeah, I think tiny people like them for novelty purposes.
But people like tiny things. If you like,
they do like miniatures, doll houses. Yes. It is a thing of like, oh, it's so cute and little, and it works.
I am a function over fashion guy sometimes, so I like my old Bel Air. That thing works. Like I do that. Yeah. I do leather work with that thing because I know it'll just punch through anything. You know, even my dressmaker. My dressmaker is sometimes I feel like it's a car engine in a sewing machine. You know, like that thing.
It probably is a Model T engine in there.
Well, it's a Japanese clone, so it definitely could be anything. It definitely could be anything. And that's another thing. Like when I started buying these machines, it opened me up to a whole new world of Japanese clone sewing machines. I knew nothing about it.
Liz, I'm so sorry to derail us. Liz caught she Googled herself, and that's how I caught a few people selling my books without permission. It's good to Google yourself sometimes. Yes.
Give me their address. I'll go buy like Silent J and Bob at the end of their movie. Please tell me you've seen Silent J and Strike Back.
I do know this movie.
At the end,
it's not people, but
oh, sorry. I Google myself all the time. I like Singer. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah, Butterfly says they like Singer featherweights. They are tiny, but not toys. People frequently think they are toys. I hear there is this cult for the Singer featherweight. I was just watching. I'm gonna forget her name. She's British, another British but more vintage sewist who bought her mother a featherweight and was like, "Please, I will borrow you frequently."
They're on the Holy Grail list. Every time I get one, I don't even make a video of it. I sell it. I mean, within like 3 days, it's gone. Those things are on the Grail list, and I've received an absorbent amount for featherweights. Those are like Isaiah. Even today, we went to the swap meet. I was like, "Hey, keep your eyes up." He's like, "I know." Feather, like he's like naming off all the sewing machines, like the models. He's like, "We've been at this for a while, guy." And see, that's the thing. There are like my Elena Lotus. That's an actual machine. It's tiny. I'm looking at it right now because it just didn't want to work. So it's a wall hanger.
Right.
And
it's the spare parts, but you need parts for those old machines.
I think one day I'm just going to make a video about all of my sewing machines that don't work. Like I have this, there was a thrift store in Ventura that I have been going to since I was a child. And during the pandemic, I started going more and more. And I saw a Bel Air sewing machine. When Isaiah was a baby, they wanted $80 for it. I bought it in that same machine sat in that thrift store for 10 years, if not longer.
Oh my God.
And I bought it for $20.
They're like, "You're taking up too much real estate. You need to I'm sick of looking at you and dusting you."
See, Butterfly and I are in the same category. See, those things are the Holy Grail.
Well, I don't own that many sewing machines, so I'm glad for my friends who own more, so I can tell myself I am not a sewing machine hoarder, that I own 4.5.
I was actually shamed yesterday because my ex-wife walked in the my middle bedroom, which is my closet, and she totally looked at me. She turned so disappointed, and she's like, "You have sewing machines in here, you hoarder!" Like
They've grown out of your one room, and now you have 2 rooms with sewing machines. How dare you?
Well, one of the reasons that we clash is that she's a minimalist, and I am the real life Fred Sanford.
Right.
No, I'm like that. I'm like that too. Like I'm a sewing machine collector. Those there's a list. Like my grasshopper, that thing barely works, but it was on my whole my grail list of like I need these sewing machines, you
I
know?
know, and such a cute green color, or like a 1950s bubblegum pink machine. That would
Yes.
be cute.
And that's exactly. That's another thing. Like my Singer stylus, I just like it because it's this really weird off teal, green, bluish, Tijuana weird color, you know?
Right.
My Singer Futura, I like that thing because that they thought that was a futuristic machine. Oh, that's awesome, Butterfly. That's awesome.
Yeah, good job. I barely know enough how to care for my own machine, so I can't claim skill for taking care of others, which is also why I don't sew for other people.
I've got quite a reputation because I was in a quilt group with but like basically I was the only person not in their 70s. and I learned a lot from them. Like basically I was in a group with a friend, but now because of word of mouth, people come to me with their sewing machines and they're like, please fix this. Please.
Yeah. Speaking of quilting, all right, we'll be safe with those shady peeps, Liz.
Oh, I hate it when you do that because I'm like, I know.
Now we're worried. My friend Margot, she does them by hand, but these most amazing portrait quilts with layers of tulle, and they're all hand stitched.
Oh wow.
It is, and the old school quilters, like, she wasn't welcomed for a while because they thought that she was like, they were like, this isn't quilting, and even the quilting has got like, you're not one of us because you don't do it our way.
I think I tripped out the ladies because I'd walk in like a biker with my sewing machine and be like, "Hi."
Are we gonna do a granny squares today? Or are we doing the what is it? I can't think of all the quilt blocks. Never mind. That joke's gonna be not go as well as I'd hoped it would.
That reminds me, my one claim to fame, the cleanest quilt I have is a cowboy quilt that I made for Isaiah. And then, like, as he got older, I was like, this is too good for you. I folded it up and put it in plastic. It's still in his room. It's still,
right. He just can't use. Right. This is the doll you can't touch.
I was thinking about framing it, but like, I'm anti-teenagers having glass in their room, so.
Right.
I love that quilt. I found this really cool. I'll find it for tomorrow's live stream. It's somewhere around here. But like, it was awesome, and it was like my one legit quilt where I was like, I've made it. Like I finally have made it. You know, because everything else is like I have a failure. I made a video about it because I'm a YouTuber and I make videos about everything. But I have a failure of a quilt that's still hanging. Like I put it up there to shame myself.
I know we all have our bad girl corners.
I forgot the thing is still hanging there. Like I hung it up after the video. I was like, I'm not gonna stuff this. I'm not gonna even take any more steps because I have so disgraced this fabric.
Oh, you can't see out my back window that it's like still it's pretending to snow. I know you East Coasters, you can laugh at me. This isn't really snow. I get it. And you're like, snow in March, you're like, that's any other March. But where I live.
Coasters though. To West Coasters, this is like
this is unreal. A novelty.
Yeah.
This is weird.
I like felt sorry for the people trapped in the snow until I found out what neighborhood it was. I was like, oh, they all have Range Rovers. They'll be fine.
I know.
Put it in 4-wheel drive and you'll be fine. It's it's really funny. That is the one piece of equipment I do not own because they don't have
four-wheel drive car.
a snowplow.
Well, you don't need it. Makes no sense. I mean, you for the maintenance for the once every 20 years where you would actually need it? It doesn't make sense.
And the space that you would need to put that thing,
Yeah, because it's bigger than a lawnmower.
Oh yeah. Or even like a weird cow catcher, like the scoop, any of that. It's just
you could just hit a plow on your truck. Why do you need a separate piece of equipment for? You just need the attachments.
I was thinking about that too, because I've been threatening for years that I'm gonna make a cow catcher, but I don't live in the country or own a train, so we're all safe. I was thinking about that because at the machine shop, Isaiah walks into the shop at my job and he's like, "Let's build a robot."
Let's do it, kid.
Oh, it's an inspiring place because it's space and you can like weld inside and you can make a mess and throw paint on the floor. It's a shop.
All right, I've done half of the eyelets that need to be finished, and now I need to duplicate this on the other piece.
I think I'm going to go into the frumpy hat business. It doesn't look the same with my hood on, but this definitely has some Flavor Flav vibes. All I need is a giant clock.
I know, right? Between Flavor Flav and Jamiroquai, we're bringing it back old school.
It's because I haven't necessarily figured out the shaping of the top of the hat. But it's the learning
once you have
process.
the right in the lining materials, it'll be easier. But yeah, that's one of those techniques that if you don't have the right tools and the lining stuff, you're not going to get the right end product.
This looks like I'm going to ask you to vote for President Nixon when I put it on. Like, well, come to the polling station. Come on down.
I would go with President Polk, but that's just me.
I watched this really awesome documentary. Richard Nixon, he was sitting in the Oval Office and there was a bunch of protesters, Vietnam veterans that were protesting the war. He walked by himself and talked to the protesters. And like the Secret Service was like,
anymore?
Exactly. I respected him for that. He walked face to face with the people who were like, "No, I hate you," and he's like, "Let's talk." He's like, I'm just like you," and I was like, "Wow, I really respect you for that." Thank you, Butterfly. I've made quite a few hats. Quite a few. This is still my favorite, my Smokey the Bear.
That one
hat.
is good.
This is my Undertaker hat. I love this thing. I've been wearing
Attack of the Body Snatchers.
I still like the mini bowler look, though. I really like that mini bowler.
It's because you're trying to be Sherlock Holmes.
I obsessively watch the old ones with Basil Rathbone, so that's what got my love for the trench coats, for all of that. Especially the mini bowler, though. I like the look, and that's why I'm constantly trying to make a pork pie. But you're right. I'm just gonna have to hold out until I get the proper interfacing.
Yeah, whether it's your buckram or the tarlatan, but I think they use millinery buckram.
I've learned so much though making these hats. I have learned so, and see that's the one thing. It's the knowledge I've gained.
Right. Shady people tried to cause shit, but I left after I stared them down, Samuel L. Jackson style. Good job, Liz.
Yeah.
I got my eyes on you.
I love that meme when it'll say stairs and mother effer. That makes me laugh. There is name me a movie he has not been. I heard a comedian say something about Samuel L. that is so true. He was like, and I'll say the clean version, but he was like, Samuel L. Jackson has been in everything. And he was a comedian. He's African American. He's in a room, all African American people. He says, look, let's be real. We claim to be anything, but he's like, there were no Negro Vikings. Everyone starts laughing. And he's like, I saw a movie where Samuel L. Jackson was on the boat with a blonde wig. Samuel L. Jackson has been in everything. He has been in everything. Name me something, a movie that Samuel L. Jackson, or a genre that he has not been in.
Oh, Liz says you should just have a video of clips you saying hi to people and throwing them off.
That's not bad.
Just
do you think anybody would be interested if I interviewed a tailor?
Oh, yes, please.
Because I'm going back to that whole thing of what I was saying the other night. Like now that I watched that one guy, Howard, like he is a real fashion designer. And I'm like, you know what? I make clothes, but this guy's a fashion designer. Like, right. I'm not saying I inspire to be like him, but I like how bold he is in the things that he'll try anything because he can sew it.
Or watching like the Pincent tailor. I think tailoring, I sew, but tailoring, that's a whole other skill set that I've not even dipped my baby toe into.
And like he had there was somebody hired him with his fashions because they wanted to do a magazine shot. And I'm like, wow, that's beyond making it. And then like he made this weird crown. He made this weird overall giant dress. It was just like, but he got paid to do it though, you know?
Yep.
Like he's a real fashion designer. I know a few. I actually know a few. And I feel like it's a lost art too, because there's a man that I know in downtown Los Angeles. He advertises where he'll make you a suit for $80 and he tailors the suit.
That's wow. No, he's missing a zero onto the end of that. And then we're talking like
he's gotten famous and he's like, he went from one shop and he almost bought out the whole block. So he does well, but like he still advertises. And there's another place in Hollywood. There's this one tailor. He sells wool suits because wool suits are a whole other animal. But yep. I wanna know his process. But a lot of these guys, like some are really secretive. I don't blame them.
Right.
I am an open book. Like if anyone ever asks me a question, I am here to help, you know.
I think that's true with a lot. I mean, what is her handle? I'm gonna forget, but there's a sewist who makes a lot of burlesque costumes that are and highly well known. I commented one day about like her rhinestone dauber, and even that was like, I got nothing. She's like sharing nothing, and I'm like, but you get this thing for it's in the plastic and not nice, like $5 on Amazon. I don't want to steal your skill, and you are worth all of your money, but I think there's a balance between being overly pretentious of your craft, and then if you don't share your craft knowledge, it's going to die out and nobody's going to know how to do it and it's going to be lost. So I think there needs to be a balance.
I think that's what I agree with you. I totally agree with you. And the one thing that kind of scared me off is the show I watched. This guy, like, and of course, he lives. I believe they're in Dallas, or I could be wrong. So it's a whole other scene compared to LA, you know?
Yeah.
It's a whole other scene. And this one guy, like, it's just weird to see the interactions of people who make their own clothes. And these guys are catty and they are fighting each other. And this one guy was like, you know what's funny? They were even worse to each other before they got the television show.
Oh, man. So this is the toned down version. Butterfly said, I get slightly offended when one of the quilting ladies said they didn't understand why people make garments. They said you can buy clothes so cheap. I may have had some ugly thoughts. Yeah, I can't remember. I honestly, at this point, can't remember the last time I bought a piece of clothing because the construction is crap. The synthetic materials don't agree with me, and nothing fits right, and I'm sick of it.
Oh yeah. Same. I make my own clothes. That's so good. Do you know? It's funny when people won't cross streams like that. Like, oh, I'm a quilter, so I'm not a sewist. Like, to me, I don't see a difference.
I know my grandma quilted and she hemmed all my pants because nothing fit because I'm a shorty.
You know, it's so funny you would say that. Like, I have like 4 or 5 pillows that my grandma made, and they still hold up to this very day. And I guarantee you, they're older than me. Like,
Yep, me too. I've got some from my grandma, some from my mother-in-law. They're prized. One of them I need to patch because they've got holes in it, but they're sentimental.
absolutely. I just
And
find that so weird. And you know
I
what,
know.
my grandma was a sewer of every. I think that's the thing, because my father and my grandmother were the same way. They'd sew anything.
Yep, my grandma sewed blankets. I have my other grandma sewed a quilt and did pillow. I don't know whether she got the pillows at a garage sale for all I know because they were not her style, but the clothes that woman made are just yeah.
And I think I say this all the time, but as a society, we're digressing, and so like you shouldn't limit. Like it's crazy to me when people limit themselves like that. You know.
I know, because it's the same. Can you sew a straight line? Yes or no? Okay, you can do anything.
Yeah.
It's not that hard or complicated.
And I think because that's how I look. I look at my battle vests, at making my jackets, at making my hats. I look at them all as sewing. I don't think they're separate. Like even I didn't even know the term upcycling until I got online.
That's how I started. I cut stuff up and was like, I don't like this, so I'm going to make something that I like better.
That's all I did was just improving my stuff. But that's, you know, from wearing like Misfits shirts when I was a kid, and like, you know.
Oh, the Misfits hat with the band throwing it back old school.
Or like I laugh because the Aquabats. Do you ever hear of the Aquabats?
I don't think so.
They were like weird ska punk. They were gimmicky because they would wear these blue suits and look like goons, but they were called the Aquabats because they were all like ex-surfers.
Okay, so they were the Blue Man Group before the Blue Man Group.
But they started the show Yo Gabba Gabba.
Oh, okay. That
I've
heard of that corporate media children's propaganda show.
Isaiah watched it. It is propaganda on steroid. But we watched it when it was first came out, and it was like Weezer was on it. Like they made it for people my age. They made it like one time I was watching with Isaiah, and I'm like, that's Weezer. That is weird. I loved Yo Gabba Gabba. Now, I won't get into it too deep, but now it's like, you know, the propaganda kind of stuff nowadays. But
right. Oh, can I get this close enough? So here, it's not going to show up cute. Oh, I should just make myself big for a second. Let me make myself big. The lace that's going to have baubles, they're going to have this white layer, then a green layer, and red baubles like cherries for my circle skirt. And it's going to be old vintage, no, 1970s furniture trim on my polka dotted circle skirt because I can.
That's awesome. Do you know, I And I'm gonna say this. I'm not a person that wears dresses, and I know that's in 2023. That's weird that a man doesn't wear dress. I know, but
No, I think that's slightly refreshing in 2023, actually. But
because I would never like if someone commissioned me to make a dress, I'll make you one in 10 seconds because they're easier to make than other stuff.
yeah, way easier than pants. A dress, there's no butt shaping. You just like, does it fit in the hips? Do we have the darts right? All right, what length do you want it? Done.
10 seconds. That's fast fashion
Maybe
for
an
me.
hour,
Like,
but still.
but I've been watching this one guy who makes dresses, and I'm like, you know what? I don't have the storage space for that. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I just don't. So if you're 5'9" and you want me to make you a dress, I can make you one in 10 seconds. If we're the same size, we have to be around the same height, though.
Because my dress form's only this tall.
Yeah.
Do you have one of those fancy hemming tools that spits the chalk out?
No, you like now I'm gonna look in my I have a bunch of fancy tools, but I have like this riveter thing that I inherited from my father that I'm intimidated by. So I still do all my my grommet work by hand.
Hold on, you don't have one of these doohickeys?
Hold on, I have a ton of stuff. Yeah, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes. I have one of those. I have a handheld version. I have a version that they were selling at Michael's. Oh, sorry. I have one they were selling at Michael's. Oh, that's funny.
Oh, I'm in the wrong ear. Hold on, I can't do.
Where is mine?
Okay.
I've been doing
now.
So
I can hear again.
I actually do have one of those, and I have a mini version, the one that they sell at Michael's with the movable heads.
This one is removable too. It was $50, the best holiday gift my human bought me, but I was like, "You're getting me an eyelet press. You're getting me an eyelet press," and then it failed me.
You know what's so funny? It's because I stopped doing my pleather and leather work. I don't work with grommets as much anymore because I was looking at my old vest and I'm like, man, I used to really care. Because I would get intricate with my grommets.
I didn't want one until I started making corsets, and you need lacing strips. And I was like, I'm not sewing all these eyelets by hand because I want a tight lace and have a snatched waist.
I think that's what it is too. It's the convenience of it. Now you have me looking for all my.
I know. I'm an instigator.
That reminds me.
It is cool, Phoenix. Or Liz, I'm Phoenix.
So this came with. I don't even remember what sewing machine it came with. Gosh, I buy so many sewing machines. So this came with all these really cool attachments. This is a ruffler, I believe.
Yes, that is a ruffler. Two of them.
Ooh, I could actually use this, but it made me laugh because my arch nemesis, they must have owned a touch and sew, because this is a touch and sew self-winding bobbin. For anyone who's ever watched my videos, these things are the plague of the land of godless of the house of sewing. I have yet to not make a touch and sew explode. And I've seen videos of people that easily do the self-winding bobbin. Nope, I'm a mess. But I love when I find attachments from different sewing machines.
Is that I'm trying to look. Oh, it's flat. Oh, it's for a low shank machine. So, no, you know what that is? That is a bias tape attacher. So you just have to sew it to like cut your fabric to, what is it, 15/16 or 7/8 of an inch, and it will attach a bias binding without you needing one of those fancy machines or to press anything. It's for attaching bias binding.
You know your stuff because it says 15/16 on here.
I watched 2 different videos because I have one of those. and I was like, what is this for? Because I have a love-hate relationship with bias binding.
These are
I have
gold.
to stitch out a machine real quick. You do whatever you need, Butterfly honey.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is.
No, it's
These
for bias binding. I watched a tutorial because I had one of those and I was like, what is that for? But no, so you just cut the strips and you don't have to press anything, and it sews it both the top and the bottom all at once.
There's so much stuff in here, but I love it when I find these older Singer bobbins because these are gold. These older
I have
flat
a shit ton of those.
Oh, it wasn't
I
until
like
I
them way
bought.
better than the plastic. Sorry, I'm talking.
No,
over
I
you.
agree. No, please do. I bought a machine and I scored because they came with all the original parts and it had like 30 wound bobbins, and I'm like, these are gold. I am saving all of these.
Right, I'm good. I don't care how old this thread is. We are sewing with you. Yeah, so those are for all your old low shank machines. So your white rotaries. I don't know. Does Singer have a low shank? But yeah. Oh, that's a tucking foot. So for hemming, I've got like a whole set of those for my whites. I'm dropping.
I finally liberated it.
Like pop it out of my puzzle box here, but yeah, those are for sewing different size hems without having to press anything, because irons used to be crappy. So you just get it started and it makes a hem. So this would probably be for like a blanket or something that's like super fat, those big ones. But yeah, no. Who needs an iron when you have old-fashioned presser feet?
I love it when I find these old boxes.
Oh, so cute.
I have a ton of these. A ton. These are considered collectibles, but by the time I get them, they're crap. This is from the 50s or 40s, right. Or like this is really old.
I know, that's like my grist one. My favorite is my white one that comes and has the metal box and they're all attached in there.
It is like like this is where attachments go to die in this.
The problem oh, you go first.
Oh no, I was just about to go off. Self-winding bobbins and I do not get along, and I know it's me. I know it's me in that relationship. I know it's me.
The problem I have is with these like plate cover ones.
I just saw a bunch of those. You know, those are difficult to work with.
I know, because I think my white it doesn't line up right with the thread, the screws to attach it right. Like it's newer that this is newer than my machine is, and I don't know how to lay it on right.
I'm the same way. And Butterfly, I have all the original instructions too. Like when the instructions are really clean, they sell so well. I have so many books for I'm a Singer museum.
Here, I'm just glad that Alibaba on one of your shows had the white manual that I should probably like save it instead of just have it on a window that I always have to refind it. It'll like refresh my history because I'm gonna don't spit on your mic.
I do that all the time. You're not alone. I have a window open right now for a singer that I was really confused on, that I was like, oh, got to go to the manual.
I know, and it's been like weeks since that show, and I'm like, I have to, every time my computer restarts and my browser doesn't work right, I'm like, I need to go to my history because I need that window still because I'm not done with you.
Totally. I do that too. I'll save a window on my phone, and my phone's like, do you know this has been here for a month? Apple will shame you.
Leave me alone, Siri. Or Alexa, or whoever you are.
It's better than like Windows 10 had Watson. I remember yelling at my computer, being like, Watson, you are terrible. That was like when they first introduced the AI. Like that was the worst. Isaiah scored so hard today at the swap meet. He was so excited. Manuals, you know what's so funny? I fell into all of these worlds because I was a sewing machine collector. I was always into sewing, but like I didn't know that people collected manuals, people collected everything. My old Singer boxes, they were like, I don't even want the cams, I just want the box. Because I was trying to sell a bunch of cams because I already had I had all the cams I needed, and they were like, no, I don't want the cams. I just want the super box. I'm like, nah, non-negotiable. They go together.
I know there's certain it's how I feel about like people cutting up vintage quilts for remaking them. Unless they're like holy and not going to live as a quilt, just keep it intact. But that might be divisive.
No, so after thinking about what you said, I wouldn't do that either because my ex-wife's grandmother was she would quilt left-handed with her eyes closed. She made countless blankets for Isaiah. They're in my linen closet wrapped in plastic. Like they are in places of distinction, you know.
Yeah, those are treasured pieces. The time and the effort and the beauty in those things, like, don't ruin a good thing to pretend to upcycle. Like, there's upcycling and then there's destruction of historical artifacts.
There was a jacket that she made that my ex-wife was like, what can I do with this? I said, this is a work of art.
Right, you do nothing with it. You put it in plastic and save it, and then ask me to fix it when the moths eat it.
Exactly. And I told her, like, just be happy that, like, you know, you can fit in it, you know, like it was like her grandmother upcycled this awesome denim coat in the 70s. And it still holds up to this very day. I mean, it was so well made that it still holds up. And I'm like,
Yep.
no, don't touch it. Just keep it right. She frayed it and everything, and it's still in perfect condition.
Oh, beautiful.
You know, and things like that just don't last anymore unless it, you know, meets someone like me who's a curator of of the Singer.
I know, right? Everything's so fast and disposable that we've forgotten to take pride in the beautiful things that somebody took hours and hours of time and thoughtfulness to construct.
I watch old movies and I try to convey to my child, like, someone hand painted that background. Somebody,
Yep.
like, you know, like that tree was made by hand. Like a bunch of guys got together and we're like, okay, we got to make a tree in the studio, you know?
Right, or sculpted it in miniature.
Yep. Yeah. Not like today where everything is kind of made for you already. You just
Or
made
CGI.
Ugh. Exactly. You know, and I think people don't appreciate the art anymore.
No, I don't think they do either.
Do you think that's because our attention spans are shorter? Like, I'm obsessed with Humphrey Bogart movies. Casablanca. I would be that annoying guy who quotes the whole movie. Like, you don't want to sit in the same room with me, you know?
Oh, you could just hang out with my human and you can both tell me the entire story of Casablanca over and over again. And if I talk about it too much, he might show up and start talking and might start reciting it to me. Or has this amazing skill to be able to sing every song from what is it? What's the musical that you never watched? Oh fuck, with the transvestite homosexual. What's the musical?
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yes, has never seen Rocky Horror, but can sing every song from it.
Damn it! Now I have
because they have the
Let's
record.
do the time warp. But now I have a song stuck in my.
Yes. Yep.
The second you said it, I was like, "Oh, Tim Curry." Is it Tim Curry? Yeah,
I
Tim
know.
Curry.
I'm like, I know this is random words smashed together, but if you know it, you will help me out.
Like, you know, if you drive around Hollywood, you can always tell when the Rocky Horror Festival is on because all of a sudden you'll see 90 people in fishnets walking down the street, you know? Oh,
It's just another Tuesday.
Portland was the trip because I came from a Hollywood. I lived in Hollywood when I moved to Portland, and Portland back then was more hippie. Like, I saw Casablanca in the theater. I saw The Big Lebowski in the theater. But when I went to go see the Rocky Horror Picture Show, there were so many people. I was like, I'm not going.
Fair.
They have this really cool theater. I know this is strange to some people, but you could actually smoke inside back then. And so,
What?
being from California, I was like, what? You could smoke in here and watch a movie in peace? I loved that place. That's the one thing I miss. Like Portland, they promoted small business.
Yeah.
So you got some really awesome shops, really awesome theaters. Like there was a privately owned theater, and they would just show whatever they felt like.
I know, and now Portland has had so much crime that they're losing all their Walmarts. Oh darn.
Do you know what? They're getting rid of Walmarts in Portland. What are they gonna do?
They're gonna go back to small businesses because they've had so much theft there. They're like, we're not sustainable here anymore.
I can see that. I can see that. Portland is Northern Oregon is a different planet because I've been to Idaho, I've been to Washington, I've been to Canada, Utah. Northern Oregon is its own planet.
It is, but now Idaho's trying to like take over part of Oregon, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Is that real?
It is real. Yes, the Greater Idaho Project is really real.
I spent 45 minutes talking about that today in the car with my son.
Oh, God, I'm sorry I brought it back up again.
No, that's why my first initial reaction was like, oh, that's real. Like, oh, that like these people are, because in California every 5 or 6 years San Bernardino tries to succeed, or like they want to become part of Arizona, or like people in NorCal want to branch off. Like there's always some weird petition.
Well, because NorCal is Siskiyou, Humboldt, Modoc, and I can't think of that other county are basically Oregon.
There's this place called Dunnigan, California. Okay. When in my mind, anything north of Dunnigan, California is Oregon, because that's the foothills of the mountains. Then it slowly starts leading you up into the Siskiyous. Like to me, that's Oregon.
I would concur. Yeah.
But like Dunnigan
is not Northern California. That's upper middle.
But see, because of the topography, you could be from where I'm from and you're a desert dweller, or be from where Skits Crasher's from and you're like used to weather like in Oregon, you know, like Northern Cal. Well, I don't know. Do you consider anything north of Sacramento? I consider like northern California.
No, you're lying.
Because it's out the middle of nowhere. Like you hit the plains, you know.
Yeah, but you've got like 6 counties and 7 hours between the top of California and the Oregon border.
To a Southern California in my brain, because I've driven to Oregon so many times. When you get outside of Sacramento, you are officially out in the middle of effing nowhere. Like
that's not Oregon yet. That's not Oregon.
And it's not even anywhere near Oregon either, but it's like everything's recognizable. Like and it's cheating because I lived in Stockton, like I lived in that area. But like once I get out of there, I'm like, I am so far away from my house. It is not even funny.
That is also a truthful statement, but yeah, those parts have weather like Northern Oregon, but that's Southern Oregon and Northern California. The real Northern California are very different from the rest of the other places.
That is true. But it's just weird to me that people are legitimately trying to succeed, get over yourself. Like, okay, so you become your own state. What? You're gonna
No, they want it just to be, they don't want it their own state, they just want it to become Idaho, which is not going to happen. Good, Liz, you are back.
I'm gonna go to the sewing room real quick, and I just
actually, well, you know what, let's just end this on a high note. Shill yourself and then we'll do our business.
I am Godless Sewing on the Godless Sewing channel. Come check me out tomorrow. My computer is still on the fritz, so I will be doing a beautiful live streaming. I have a ton of new fabric, so if I don't sew something tonight, I definitely will be sewing something tomorrow. And I have a ton of hat interfacing, so it'll probably, spoiler, it'll be a hat. Godless Sewing, Godless Sewing. Come on down to the Godless Sewing channel. Be there or be square. Monday nights at 7 o'clock. Godless Sewing,
Awesome.
Godless Sewing.
And don't wait till tomorrow to be fabulous today. And if you haven't laughed at yourself, don't laugh at others. And we will be back here at the same bat time, same bat place next week on Sunday. And until then, TTFN. Bye.
Clock out with your clock out.